That Porsche looking mighty clean right by our stage. Make sure to check it out. Matching our gameplay, I dare say. Yeah, also, of course, if you're a big Porsche fan, I got just the right thing for you. The 911 speaker, that is something you can win here right now. Well, not right now, but you can start your winning journey right now by entering in our raffle. You see the URL on your screens right there. So make sure to sign up for a chance to win this beautiful speaker. You have one more day to go, and we will be announcing the winners over on social media. So make sure to join in on all the fun. We've already signed up.
We have.
Was that a question or a statement?
No, I just have definitively. Of course I have. Sorry.
Of course we have. And also for the people watching, you may have noticed we have a special guest with us, Casares, coach from Toronto Defiant. Unfortunately, you guys' run ended yesterday, but what's the experience been like for you?
It did. I think the event's been run great. I think, after the little issues we had on day one, I think everything's been going really smooth, and I think stage looks great, team looks great, but unfortunately, we couldn't make it this far yet, so I get to be here.
You know what? It's better for us. That's a victory for everyone here on the desk as we get to chat to you a little bit about the games we've seen so far. Are you surprised? This is the first time, of course, we've seen those regional clashes. Are you surprised at the different compositions, the different metas, and how it panned out?
I feel like the meta has developed really fast in the long term. I think us and Falcons started playing that Mauga comp pretty early on, and it seems like now, every region has their own flair, Falcons, they have their 2 flex DPS. You've got Crazy Raccoon with Lip on the hit scan, but they still play a lot of dive and try to mix that in. And then you've got EU playing a lot of Baptiste and these rush compositions. So I'd say it's really healthy. And because every region is segregated now, every team gets to bring their flair to the competition. I think that's really great.
I do have a question about specifically the tanks we've seen. For ENS, it's pretty understandable. You're going to see a lot of Sigma, but we've seen a lot of Mauga from Asia, and specifically, Falcons played a lot of Mauga. Why haven't we seen as much Mauga perhaps from the other NA and EMEA teams, and at this level that we've seen it from players like Hanbin, for example, or Junbin?
I feel like Falcons is so refined on it that it almost feels like when you go into them, you almost don't want to mirror because they can hit the Mauga 2 flex DPS, which on certain maps I feel like is better than the Mauga with the hit scan, which a lot of teams are forced to run, right? I think not a lot of teams have the same flexibility as Falcons does, but they also can't play the hit scan as well as Crazy Raccoon can. So I think that's a really good segue leading into this match. Can the hit scan win against the 2 flex DPS?
I mean, if anyone can do it, it would be Lip, right? I think a lot of people would call him best hit scan in the world right now, but I think he faces maybe the toughest test he's ever faced. For me, if Falcons can win the day on the compositional game and take Lip off of the Cassidy, I think they may have already won this series. I think that will decide it, who can force their will on the series and have their vision of the game be coming out correct.
Casares, which of these individuals has stood out to you thus far in the tournament on Team Falcons?
I definitely think Jumbin's Mauga has been incredible. I feel like the way Crazy Raccoons played against us, their tempo was so much higher than any NA or EU team. They played the game so much faster engagers, faster setup, faster rotations. So we weren't able to keep up with them. So it's going to be a test for the Falcons. Can they keep up with the rotations that the Raccoons pull out?
Let's actually take a look at the opposition here, of course, Crazy Raccoon, and look ahead at what they might be bringing to the table. Are they prepared and ready for that double flex DPS action?
I mean, that has been the big question on our minds this entire weekend, really, is that Falcons have so much flexibility to their name. So what are you going to see Lip, for example? Is Lip going to be forced to play a lot more Tracer in this matchup? The thing is, though, Crazy Raccoon, they've almost established some form of dominance over Falcons. We've been taking a look at the Asia main event, of course, but even besides that, in the group stages, it always feels like Crazy Raccoon has been the superior team. Falcons got the one back once and won in the series, but for the most part, Crazy Raccoon has been the best team in Asia. So it's really on Falcons to hey, we got a solution, we got a plan, this meta suits us. It's really on them to overcome the odds. and take over that #1 spot. I feel like Crazy Raccoon, they have a stacked roster, but like Lip has been so good. Can he realistically do it again against a double flex player damage lineup like we're seeing for Falcons?
I will say before, you really saw like the dive matchups between the two teams, right?
Yeah.
You saw the dive. Now it's more of a Lucio Kiriko, and I do think that Chio and Fielder have the edge in the Lucio Kiriko matchup. I feel like Shu is elite on Ana, but I think in Kiriko, Fielder has got his number.
You know, to be honest, I think Chorong has actually really impressed me all season long. I think for a long time we've talked about Chio and Fielder as the duo, but maybe finally Shu has met a perfect combo in Chorong. This backline has been honestly monstrous all season long, but I think you are right to call it because for me it's like Chorong on the brig when we really feel how much he gets done, how much risk he takes, and yet with the trust in Shu, they pull it out time and time again. So if there's anybody who can keep Lip alive on the Cassidy, it would be these guys. However, you're talking about Proper's Genji and then Stalker, whether he brings the Venture, the Tracer, it almost doesn't matter to me in terms of his skill. The question is, can Lip stand through that level of pressure? I mean, this is one of the hardest tests for a hit scan. A comp completely built to kill Lip. I mean, that is going to be game plan #1. Lip knows it, Falcons knows it. Just a question of who can make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta target the Warlord, you know, that 7-foot Warlord. Someone has to break it down or bring him down. Let's hear it from the desk. Let's look at our predictions. I think this one is a tough one, actually. It is a rematch, of course. Those two teams are very familiar with each other. They know what they have in store for one another. Honestly, though, while heading into this tournament, I would have said Crazy Raccoons, they are the favorite to win it. After the performance we've seen thus far from Team Falcons, I actually am going to give it to them. And I feel it might be a lot more convincing than some might expect. I think they found an answer to what we've seen thus far. Crazy Raccoons have not been pushed at all yet. I think Team Falcons have this in the bag.
You know, I agree. I think it's going to be an upset win for Falcons. I would call it an upset because I think Crazy Raccoon have had the edge in past matchups for these teams. But for me, I'm a believer in the Genji Venture combo. I think no matter how good you are at Cassidy, these are heroes that just don't give you a chance. Genji comes out with the deflect, with the blade. He's on top of your head. Venture coming in from under the ground. I think finally, Genji has a true partner in this type of all-in, hyper-aggressive dive. I think Venture has unlocked a new style of Overwatch that we've never seen before. And I think it's going to be a really tough test for Lip.
You know, I really think that it's going to be a test of the proper Genji against the Lip Cassidy. I truly think that with, you know, we haven't talked about it yet, but with Oasis being the first map, I feel like that's a closer range map that's incredibly valued for that Mauga Genji comp that we've seen the Falcons pull out. So I think with, you know, the loser picks map system, it'll be a close match, I think, 3-2 Falcons.
Oh, wow. You all went with Falcons.
Are you that guy?
Wow. I'm not even that guy. You are these people.
For real. I mean,
Crazy Raccoon has been the best team so far in Asia.
True.
And I think they've earned the respect to actually have me predict them. In any case, I mean, in many ways, it's Falcons trying to come up with an alternate solution. What are we going to do to get the upper hand in this matchup against Crazy Raccoon? So it actually says Falcons 3-2 here, but I am going with Crazy Raccoon 3-2. And I promise you, I'm not flip-flopping, despite my past reputation. From the start, from this morning, before I even had coffee,
I can confirm.
it was
I can
Crazy
confirm.
Raccoon 3-2 all the way. So I'm going with the Raccoons on this one.
All right. You sound not super confident.
Johnny stands with his 6-foot
Actually.
brother in the back line.
Yeah, me and Lip, you know, we're tall people.
Just stick together.
That's why.
Yeah, take it to the little man.
They have the same
That's-
perspective on things.
Yeah, Proper is pretty short, so I can't
Very
predict
nice.
Falcons. You know,
Yep,
that's how it goes.
that's how we make predictions.
Logic.
That's why we pay the big bucks. I think there's just one way to find out who's going to come out on top, and that's, of course, playing the game. I'm ready. You guys are ready. I know our audience is ready for this one. So let's bring out our teams.
It's time to meet your teams. Everybody make some noise for Crazy Raccoons!
Crazy Raccoon, undoubtedly the champion of the Asia region, the toughest Overwatch on the planet. These are your champions, your survivors, the tournament favorite. Most people would side with them, but they face an incredible test today, perhaps the toughest yet in Team Falcons.
And their opponents. Put your hands together for Team Falcons!
Team Falcons looking for the upset win against the Crazy Raccoons. what do they have cooked up for this one? We've seen so many compositions from this team. They've dominated so far on the Mauga, Venture, and Genji composition, but also the Pharah, the Lifeweaver. They got everything in their bag. What are they going to bring out on stage to claim their spot in the grand finals?
The earth is about to shake, folks. Our two titans of the Overwatch world lock horns once again. It's a renewal, of course, of a regional rivalry. Our top two teams from the Asia-Pacific region who look to be the two best teams here at DreamHack Dallas. One of them moves straight to the final. The other down to the lower bracket to take on Space Station Gaming.
Yeah, and coming in, I think, Crazy Raccoon's obviously the favorite. It looks like, though, with the meta that we've seen so far, and the desk obviously favoring it, Johnny picking both teams as per usual. But
hedge your bets, love that.
The Venture Genji with the Mauga seems to be what will win out. It'll be interesting what we see from Crazy Raccoons, like if they continue to play Cassidy and whatnot, and they're able to make that work, then I think things completely change. But I think a lot of the people watching and whatnot believe that that dive is going to be too strong, too aggressive.
I think for Venture, what makes them so powerful here is that they can advance through poke comps without taking any of that damage. That was an issue for Tracer in the past. Also, Tracer's so susceptible to mag grenade and the hindrance it provided. And also Genji. You don't always want to use your deflect cooldown when you're trying to get in, when you're trying to dive, but you can come in from below, of course, behind that Mauga, charging on in. He stomps, you pop up, your Genji dashes in, you've got everything that you need. It is a very powerful composition, and one we've really seen these APAC teams make great use of. Castros points out, he says, I feel like these teams play on another level. They're very fast, the rotations, everything seems to happen at the literal speed of light. It's hard to keep up with for so many of these other rosters, but now we get a true test. Who will stand tall here in this battle of giants? Godzilla vs. King Kong in Overwatch terms. We're heading over to Oasis to kick this off.
Like you mentioned, the amount of damage output right when Venture, they pop up out of the ground, Mauga slam into Genji dash. I mean, the burst is unreal that comes out from that combination.
We used to think Tracer, Genji, Winston was ridiculous in terms of just being able to dive on in and do work. This is even worse.
Yeah, now we've gone a long way. This is, see, I think it's more on. I think the pressure's more on Crazy Raccoon to be like, okay, we know what Falcons has run so far. It's been quite aggressive and impactful. How do we counter that?
Here we go, DreamHack Dallas, make some noise! It's Crazy Raccoon and Team Falcons locking horns in this upper bracket final.
So they will actually come out with Tracer Echo here as a combination for Crazy Raccoon. So Proper doesn't play the Genji. Maybe this is a little bit of a read, right? That they would come out with the Echo. So we'll see Venture Tracer as a combination for Falcons.
Flank angles are good for Tracer here. You can play around the point fairly effectively, providing your cooldowns are available to you. There is, of course, the issue for Venture, but Tracer versus Venture is an interesting matchup indeed. Junbin already fell. Team Falcons, what a great start. Playing together on the low ground, and we're watching from Heesang's point of view, who just isn't involved in that first engagement.
And, we've talked a little bit about it. I know that Jake's talked about it as well, where if you have that Pharah, for instance, like can you drop the hit scan if you're going against that type of composition? This is almost better for Falcons in a sense that like you don't even see that there's like a Pharah on the other side. Nothing you really have to deal with. This jumping now will go for the Doom Fist.
I think Crazy Raccoon not having their point favor a bit more verticality. I think Junbin wants to ignore Smurf as much as is humanly possible. Proper makes a foray though, causes Junbin and Co to turn their heads. Cardiac overdrive, here's the stop. Junbin under pressure, absolutely dominated. Couldn't even throw up the power block. That is disgusting.
Well, you can't power block from the ground. That is filthy stuff. For Falcons, you almost kind of consider Fielder on the Baptiste kind of like your hit scan, right? You kind of drop that completely. The first two fights here have gone heavily in favor of Falcons. Is above 50% on the point for Crazy Raccoon. How do you even, like, the rush, right? You're going to have to use this Kitsune rush here. Get Junbin and Co inside of it and make a play. As it looks like Smurf trying to back up a little bit here. Not time to go just yet.
Oh, Falcons are ready to crack back though like a sapling in the breeze. Here's the sound barrier now. They're in for young and old. Pulse bomb there, knocked Heesang out of Doom, but eventually Proper's able to clip the wings of the Echo after the fact. Here's that Venture ultimate. Stalker having to play back around the corner, now being accosted by the Doomfist. Didn't have any help there. And a later sound barrier for Crazy Raccoon. Everyone up now. A cardiac overdrive, not getting much use here as Falcons are turning tail and running most of the time. But now they're back, proper on the scene. Choron going to be picked up and it's going to be traded as Lip descends on the Tracer. Smurf looking healthy though. Ready for cage fight in a few moments as Heesang tries to part with some of those cooldowns. It's Fielder who's gone. Junbin connects with a punch, but Chio finds a Tracer. It's a very low health Malga. Smurf almost misses the Mega. Now trying to burn Junbin down. The backup is there for Crazy Raccoon, and they're in the game.
Yeah, the biggest kill there was getting Fielder out of the way, right? Fielder putting down a ton of damage there on that Baptiste. Make a play for him in the back line. You're able to get him. So a few changes here. So you'll actually also have Stalker move away from Venture and play the Echo. So Echo Tracer battle here. Just a difference now in terms of the tanks.
Malga ultimate up for Falcons. Cage fight a real option, but who do you catch? It's a very mobile composition from Crazy Raccoon. Everybody can sort of avoid it. It all comes down to execution in this fight as Falcons are already up to 81%. Stalker playing from the ground for the most part now, opts to take that ledge. Pressure on Heesang, the focusing beam claims him. And who's in the cage? Absolutely bloody no one.
Yeah, it looks like maybe trying to use that cage to kind of corral the Doomfist in. Stomp there from Smurf.
She's low. Very, very low. And Smurf's able to finish off Kiriko. Falcons able to flip the point back midway through the fight. This favors them so much. They didn't have to wait for a clean fight win to get control. Now Crazy Raccoon staggered a little bit. Yeah, very much so. Junbin will be lucky to get out alive. Had to be a swift step from Shu to keep Doom in the fight. Heesang opts to duplicate a Trace now. The mobility will get him back to the point. Doesn't have much to do here. Finds his time. Still 6 seconds left on that duplicate. There'll be 2 Traces for a while for Crazy Raccoon. He's a sound barrier. Stalker's able to use that window to find Choron. Falcons doubling down now. Getting closer to a duplicate is Stalker, but he's comfortable. It's got to be a Kitsune rush here from Crazy Raccoon, but can they get value from it? It doesn't look like it. Smurf eventually falls. The sticky bombs of Heesang get the job done, but it's just not enough players here for Crazy Raccoon. Proper making sure of it. He slapped Junbin in the next Tuesday. And your APAC number 2 start with a round win.
Yes, it's in response to the Crazy Raccoon Kitsune Rush. It's a great sound barrier there from Chio, and then they have their own Kitsune Rush a little bit later into the fight where I think you can already see, right? That Crazy Raccoon needs to kind of figure out an answer, right? Playing this, now we see a Wrecking Ball, right? So we've seen this in one of the previous series we casted them as well, but how does this go against the Maga now going back to Venture? And then Proper has options. Tracer, Genji, a bunch of different options here to be able to play.
Last time these two teams played in a final, it was an Orisa meta. It's a very different landscape now. And these two teams have a different take on the best way to play it. It's been Wrecking Ball pretty powerful.
The disruption from the ball is going to be annoying here, right, to deal with. And I think for Falcons, it's like, okay, well, I don't know if the game plan changes much outside of, the supports are going to be a little bit slippery to hit, right? The Lucio and the Preco, very difficult to kind of track down. Now with the Wrecking Ball in the mix.
Oh, the Tankus and Junbin. Nice little flanking route there. Doesn't really get a lot done with the pile driver. The Falcons are forced off the point to start. They'll be back though. Proper here's got a few angles to cover right now. Definitely concerned about Heesang later into the fight. He'll step back from the pile driver now as Junbin swings on out of there. Crazy Raccoon taking their time, really not fully committing to the point here. Waiting for Junbin to set them up. But for what? We'll have to wait and see.
And it seems like Falcons is totally fine playing this game, right? That eventually, with the Immortality Field and some of the other damage they have in the mix, it'll work out as Smurf pushes up through the choke cardiac overdrive there. They're able to find Choron.
I mean, all this Falcons, composition. They want Smurf to take fights. They want him to get engagements, and Crazy Raccoon are trying to avoid him again. You can only do that for so long, though. The Venture here for Stalker comes up big early on, and Lift gets felled by his own pulse bomb. Lynx gets Fielder for his troubles, but that's just not enough.
Yeah, but Fielder gets 2 before it even happens, right? So Fielder putting in work on the back, just the extra damage output, right, from having the Baptiste, the Immortality Field as well.
Is it a verticality? Tracer could never.
No. And you can also play the Venture with a Tracer, right? It's not like you have to play with the Genji.
Loop up here for Heesang. And Matrix over Fielder is a frightening prospect indeed. We'll start the sound barrier. They're already getting Smurf finding Choron. Somehow, they've gotten into the cookie jar. And a leap upon the Lucio early in the fight. Mr. 250k. Well, then Benjamins go spilling on the floor.
Yeah, this is not, if you're a Crazy Raccoons and you're kind of wondering like, okay, can we hang with some of these compositions? This is not the start for them here. It's going to be about 60% in counting now. I guess the positive here you look at is that there's no Ant Matrix sound barrier available anymore for Team Falcons, but they are having a hard time dealing with this comp.
Still waiting to see what the...
Look how low.
Again!
So you know, we don't actually kind of catch it, but Shu and Chorong get hit by like a slam there, and they're so weak right at the start. There's a Kasune rush here from Shu, just trying to keep this one going.
Oh, this is a gap! It's a bloody gap, folks! Another ultimate out from Stalker. He's a respectful distance, but that's beautiful. Lip emerges into a harpoon. Now Stalker can wrap around here. It's all clean up, it's all done, but the crying. This Team Falcons are nothing short of splendid on City Center. Junbin keeps it alive, keeps it going.
It's, you know, I mean, could make it a little bit interesting, right? Junbin, he stays alive, it's going to be very difficult, but you do have a sound barrier. It's going to be a cage.
Where are you going, Heesang?
And he is going back to the spawn there. Chorong with the sound barrier connects to 3.
Chorong at least got the first casualty in this fight for once, able to find Smurf even. Hey, there's something here. Good kunai there from Chu to take Builder down, but Junbin's been removed. Recall from Proper. Only 3 up right now for Team Falcons. They're still going to stand and fight. They've got no reason not to, but it's getting a little dicey for your blue side. Yep, back goes the Venture. Stalker gets on out of there. Fielder switching over to the
Chia with the beat.
Can he get it down? Yes, here's the beat now for Team Falcons. Smurf even gets it. In they go, and Lip once more gets flattened. Proper trying to ignore the Malga, trying to get into the back line, but the cardiac overdrive makes it tough. Can't find the burst damage he's looking for as Heesang's able to get rid of him back on the Genji after being caught in the cage last fight. Here's Smurf on the Doom this time around. Junbin found some success on this Malga, but it's a little too little. It's a little too late. And Team Falcons, janitorial duties complete, and the first match secured.
As there towards the end, Falcons did a tremendous job keeping it in OT, allowing, you know, whether it was like Stalker Chia getting around the corner, keep it cycled, keep it going, and then getting that sound barrier. And once they come around the corner with the sound barrier, Smurf launches himself like a cannon on the Doom into the back line. And there is nothing that Crazy Raccoons can do. Is they look a bit stunned there after that first map.
A lot of our players that we interviewed, they weren't really upfront about this, but they did say that they felt that perhaps the seeding for these APAC teams was not quite accurate.
Like a little bit misleading.
Right, not quite accurate to where they stood because it was a result of a victory that Crazy Raccoon found in a very different metagame. Let's head to the desk breakdown. Map number 1, Oasis goes to Falcons.
Thank you, Mitch and Matt. Yeah, let's break it all down here on the desk as Team Falcons is taking that first map, Oasis. And throughout the series, it looked pretty clear that Crazy Raccoon are just trying to avoid taking that Maga mirror.
I think that's a losing strategy, frankly. I don't think the ball really works against the Maga, especially on a map like Oasis. I think they're trying to keep the game in their wheelhouse, but we haven't seen enough this series. I mean, that was not the true value test that I think we need to see.
Control is not a real map anyway.
Yeah. A little bit crazy with the ball.
I think these teams are scrimmed against each other so much that I think the Lucio BAP is really taking the Crazy Raccoons off guard. I feel like the BAP has done such a good job at shutting down that echo, but I feel like this venture that's coming out is really like combining with the Malga very well. I think if Falcons can keep playing that 2 flex DPS and you have Crazy Raccoons also play 2 flex DPS, Falcons come out on top. And I think Crazy Raccoons need to figure out a way to play the hit scan.
Yeah. But this is why you love having Proper on your team, right? Because he can play that hit scan role and he can do really well when it comes to the Soldier and the Widowmaker all these years, right? But also flex over to these projectile heroes if required. And that has really been the recipe for success here for Falcons. Playing the Tracer in an extremely high level, of course, the 2022 Rookie of the Year, MVP as well. I mean, this guy is absolutely insane on this hero. And now we have Falcons who, yeah, we have Stalker, who's one of the best players in the world, but Proper can really take over these games and really flex over to whatever's required of him. So, okay, you have Lip on your team. Well, Proper can kind of match you with that Tracer. And if we feel like we have a stronger matchup, we want to play something like Venture Genji, then you can do that too. But Proper offers you that flexibility, and that is why he's so clutch for this Falcons team as they go up 1-0 over Crazy Raccoon.
And he's such a self-sufficient player, regardless of what hero he's actually playing, really opening up a lot of support from Fielder and Shio to be allocated to the rest of the team.
think this map one, looking at these stats, I mean, a very one-sided map in terms of final blows. It's going to test the veteran resilience on the side of Crazy Raccoon because that's a beatdown on map one of what's supposed to be a hotly contested series. I do think what Crazy Raccoon can feel good about is this isn't their true form. I think the form that they've been preparing for, the one that they hope will carry them to victory in this series, is going to be Lip on the Cassidy, Heesang on the Pharah, taking that Mauga mirror with their vision of it. But I think you're right, Cass, to highlight the Batiste. I think that flex support player is going to be super crucial for Falcons. The BAP is the one, if you're not running a hit scan in your DPS line, the BAP has to carry the load, and that's no easy feat when you're also tasked with keeping everybody live and protecting yourself while you're at it.
Well, the ball is now in Crazy Raccoon's court, of course, as they get to choose the map as well as the map type. Kasaurus, you as a coach, where would you take us here?
I think, you know, if you're playing this series, I think you try to avoid the Amalgamir as much as you can. I think you really want to pick a dive map because we've seen in Asia that Crazy Raccoon's been able to beat Falcons on that dive. So if I'm them, I'm taking it to like a Root or a Gibraltar where you want to play that Brig on a Winston. And I don't think we've seen much of those maps yet in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the possibility of shaking things up, for example. Like, we always talk about Hybrid and Escort, but here we're actually seeing Suravasa being picked. A map they're pretty comfortable with. Would you just like, I'm curious about your opinion here, Kasaurus, because you've actually matched some of the Mauga compositions in the past. Against M80, for example. Hawk used to play a ton of Mauga. Are you just abandoning like a Doomfist kind of composition to play around the Mauga? Do you think it's over to play the dive?
I think the shout is so strong when the Doomfist goes in, and you can make such a strong push with the Mauga that it's really hard to play dive. And I feel like last map was really the value test for Crazy Raccoons. Can we play dive into this Mauga? It didn't work. I don't think we'll see like more dive coming out from Crazy Raccoon. I think they're picking Suravasa because they want to play that cast fair Mauga.
I mean, to be honest, I'm really worried about a Flashpoint pick coming out this early in the series. For me, in this format, the reason you pick Flashpoint is you have low confidence in the ability to win the series. You're desperate to do something to get a map win because for me, Escort and Hybrid are just obviously the most valuable map types to pick. You can shut out the most variety in the map pool. And so when you pick Flashpoint, you're trying to get purchase in this series. You're trying to get some kind of win because theoretically, the Flashpoint map would come out eventually anyway, right? Like, you don't really need to pick it this early in the series unless you're feeling as a team like, we just need to put something on the board.
Or this could also be the Crazy Raccoon saying, we know what Escort and Hybrid you guys are going to pick, so we want to pick Flashpoint because we're confident against all your picks.
This is why he's the coach.
That's right.
900 IQ.
That's right. Put him in. Put him in. Well, we are ready for map number 2. Let's see if Crazy Raccoon can bring this one back.
Suravasa, our second map of this series selected, and interesting takes on the desk here. You know, Jake's on a feeling that this is a sign of low confidence from Crazy Raccoon. Already we're kind of flipping the narrative from the pre-game on its head.
Yeah, I kind of would tend to agree with Jake, and also okay, so even if you get the map on the board here, right, if you're Crazy Raccoons, you have given them the option of picking their best Hybrid or Escort. And maybe they feel like that, you know, they know which maps those are going to be, and they feel pretty good about those. I think this is also to try and maybe get some hit scan into the mix, right? I know, see Lit potentially pick up that Cassidy yet again, but obviously still some time for teams to make some changes.
All right, Crazy Raccoon, a pretty rough first map. They got demolished on Oasis, especially on City Center. They tried a few different comps. Tried the Wrecking Ball, tried the Doom, nothing stuck. Team Falcons happy enough to stick with the Malga composition. Why wouldn't you be? The Pharah here, coming out of the gates. As we head into our second map of this best of 5.
Yeah, so it's Pharah Mauga from Falcons, right? When you have the Pharah in the mix, you have the Kariko as well, so no Baptiste. But actually, Crazy Raccoons will actually be playing the Genji here, so not going to be playing a Pharah Cassidy combination. They're actually going to be playing the Genji in combination with the Mauga.
Jumin eventually will have to cede that high ground. Looks like Crazy Raccoon tried to push ahead of this. Make it hard for Falcons to get in easy. What? Okay, fair enough. Free pick, Stalker down, but it's traded. Both Malgas able to find purchase here, but the damage is too much to Smurf. Elsewhere, though, Falcons found other advantages. Junmin tries to get a big stop, but that is sidestepped by the highly mobile Falcons lineup. Now it's one Malga versus the world. You can have as many rippling muscles as you like, friend. That is a numbers disadvantage.
Yeah, but it's great to have your Maga alive, but when Proper killed the entire rest of the team, it doesn't exactly matter that much, right? It's
Nice to know that Proper go kill still a valid strategy.
Chio and Fielder keep themselves alive, throughout all of that as well. So even with that early kill on the Stalker, it does not pay off there for Crazy Raccoon.
Now what? You have a Farah in control of the point here. You have to find a way to address this. Stalker making it hard to catch him. The C-Sang pops up, brings a little bit of burn from the Malga. Jungbin moves up as well. You hear those shots coming out from the Peacekeeper. They're trying to lay Falcons low here as Proper will advance. Cardiac overdrive already used by Crazy Raccoon. The pulse bomb got to be dodged away. Jungbin's more than happy to shoulder charge in the other direction for now. Oh, that was almost a kill for Lip. He thought he might have had a freebie there. But Chorong and Heesang go to work, and eventually Smurf is the only one left.
And I wonder if Falcons will move away from this, like with the hit scan on the other side. This is a perfect opportunity to potentially play, that venture that they've been so good on.
You could just keep playing Farah. You can keep playing Farah. Is Venture really good on that flashpoint, do you think?
I mean, I don't think this is probably the best flashpoint for them, but seeing Stalker, here on the Farah and seeing Proper make the switch over the Genji, right? So this will put a little bit more pressure onto Lip.
All right, Jungbin's had to drop off the point there. Just too exposed to these rockets. From a little bit of a deflect here. Good poke damage. Here come the Falcons. Barrage on the high ground, though. Of course, it'll be a sound barrier. Crazy Raccoon withstand the storm. Lip's able to respond. Headshot on Stalker. Removes the Farah. And now Fielder is caught out in the open. Beautiful dash from Heesang. Proper finished off. A nice cleanup sees Crazy Raccoon in position to take this first flashpoint.
Yeah, they get immense value there out of that Kitsune rush. Assassinating Smurf as he tries to leave. So now you'll see the swap. So seeing Proper go over to Genji there, it was kind of okay, we're going to get this barrage, we're going to use it, and then we're going to switch here over to the Venture. So Crazy Raccoon, they make it work here with the Cassidy Genji. Let's see now if this is kind of a real test, right? Can they make it work here? Now, this has been Falcons' kind of bread and butter throughout the tournament in terms of comp.
And they got to respect their Lip Cassidy here. Farah has such a vulnerability against that. So Crazy Raccoon moving first. They have control of this flashpoint. Will be open in about 15 seconds, so plenty of time for a bit of an early fight. Falcons try and get advantageous positioning first, but Jungbin might throw a cage fight here. Drags people down. Don't know how Proper got caught out there. Heesang's able to finish the job, though.
Yeah, I mean, that is huge, right? I know the Genji is such a big part of that dive, right? The Maga, the Venture, and Genji getting into the back line. So without the Genji, that's a large source of damage. Basically gives Crazy Raccoon the point early.
The error's starting to creep in already for Falcons. Double players getting picked off here. Uncharacteristic for Proper, but it happens to the best of them. Here's the cage fight. Both teams going to use that. Too much of an advantage not to. Two glancing blows taken by Lip, and he's able to back away behind the masonry and get ready to throw himself in. The Stalker's waiting with open arms. Completes the kill. Wait a minute. Okay, that wasn't an Ajax. Will carry on. Chorong out there in midair is an easy pick-off. Falcons emerge here on top. Proper needs to respect Jungbin. Stalker doesn't really have anywhere to go outside of backing out. And this is more percentage for Crazy Raccoon. Eventually they'll address the Malga. That's a healthy start.
Yeah, absolutely. You will lose Jungbin here towards the end of this, so not able to fully back out. That was also Blade there from Heesang, so ended up trying to pop the Blade there to keep that one going. It was actually a Kitsune rush from Fielder when that cage fight was coming down, trying to keep everybody alive on through that. So have a sound barrier here available for Falcons. Sound barrier with a Blade. Proper is taking some big damage. Has to be real careful.
It takes a while for Fielder to top him up as well in relative terms. They need that Blade in the fight here. Chorong going to be verging on that sound barrier though. Here he goes! He's going to force that ultimate out. That's Proper. How heavily does he commit to this? Okay, waits a little bit, gives it a beat, and then goes on in. But Smurf is the first casualty here. Proper finds one target. Lip, a good one to find, but is it too late in the fight? Proper seems to think so. He'll get a health pack, try and get back in. There was a flip back by Crazy Raccoon there. They're in control once more.
Yes, it looks like everybody on Falcons just trying to hightail it. Nobody wants to fall here. This would just stagger them out even further in a scenario where they really can't. Well, you have everybody back. Cardiac overdrive here.
Okay, Suzu also used there by Fielder. Give them a window, but time is running out. 99% and counting here, and there's no touch on the flashpoint. What? Falcons give yet another one up. Crazy Raccoon on the verge of taking the map away.
Yes, we were a little bit curious about their decision here to go to Suravasa.
There's a lot going on.
Everybody's going to go home and play Venture, not play like this.
I do want to go play Venture, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
And again, Stalker makes it look easy. However, that's the only thing that has looked simple for Falcons so far this map. They have been a step behind at every turn.
So you'll see, I mean, Crazy Raccoon now have a pretty big advantage here, right? Falcons ended up using their beat in the previous fights. It's going to be a Kitsune rush here for Falcons, opening it up, and it's going to be a Cage Fight Blade combo here for Crazy Raccoon.
He's just working around the fringes of it. Never had to fully commit. And when it's just a Malga left standing, you know your target priority has been good. Little stagger here. Let me out, he says. Let me out! Jorong. Okay, we're all good.
Yeah, that is one of the more devastating combos, right? If you're able to land one of those big cage fights and then a Dragon Blade comes on through, especially with no sound barrier on the other side. I mean, it is chalk at that point. So Crazy Raccoon get control of the point first, as now the able dominant here.
No excuse for Falcons not to win this fight. Unless something goes wrong, then Jorong gets a beat in time. Here we go.
You see how they disengage, so they're so fast once they see that Venture start to dig and come towards, they just get everybody out of the way.
That did look like more of a feint from Falcons, in fairness. Here come the real cooldowns. Susie got popped there, here's the cage fight. Gio holds the beat, lets it go now. Jorong's able to build one up of his own, but Smurf's gonna fall first. He's saying, it's hard in the middle of the cage fight. Well, I said they had no excuse, and here we are. Team Falcons used 2 ultimates, but Shu got that Kitsune rush. That's the map there, folks. There's no chance for Falcons to come back. It's Crazy Raccoon, even up the series. Dominant on Suravasa.
That was not close.
That was quick.
That was lightning fast. I'd love to know in terms of like Flashpoint games where that ranks all time in terms of speed. As to me, it felt like that. I mean, I think the Cassidy obviously, I know, helps with just in terms of the consistent damage. It didn't really feel like that was like the biggest difference between these two teams. It seems like Crazy Raccoon just came out on another level in that map.
Let's head away this, break it down. It's one apiece in the series.
Well, here we are. It is a series now, 1-1 apiece, as Crazy Raccoon are matching them. What a phenomenal performance there on their very own map pick, Suravasa. That's where they took us. Quite frankly, Team Falcons, I want to talk about the composition. They rocking out with that Pharah really didn't work for them. They only switched at the very end. What was that Pharah pick again? Can anyone walk me through this?
I think they're both mind gaming each other, Cass. We were talking about this. What was your take on it?
I really feel like this Pharah, it's about the first point, it's about the poke you can get under the Mauga, and I think they really want to try and make not hit scan work. But I think throughout the series you saw them try to pick more picks to try and shut down Lip, and I think both teams were trying to out main game each other, and I feel like Crazy Raccoons got the better first fight comp, and then you saw Falcons try to catch up the whole map, and you criticized it earlier, Jake, but maybe Suravasa was the map pick, because I can't imagine right now that they're not feeling incredible and confident in that Mauga mirror.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible how this is currently developing throughout the series, and we're likely to see a lot more developments as this series progresses, right? He's saying with a great performance here on the Genji on Suravasa and a lot of impact. Of course, it's a bit of a different style here because we talked pre-game about how Lip, you don't expect him to swap over to the Genji or Venture at all. More, it's going to be the hit scan, right? And that is something they can lean on. He's signed with a clutch Dragon Blade there, and you can see the stats themselves against Proper as well, coming through with the 14-9 final blows. Obviously, a 3-0 Suravasa. How often do you see a 3-0 Suravasa? That was really dominant. I really want to give a shout out as well to Jorong and Chu. I think they layered their support ultimates really clutch. You saw it on point B, for example. You see that Lip playing the Cassidy, it shifts the way the neutral happens a little bit. So Falcons, they want to get in there with their Genji and Venture, and Lip is public enemy number 1 on that Cassidy, right? Well, you see Jorong coming clutch with a sound barrier, and then followed by the Kitsune rush to shift the momentum when Falcons have really engaged. So a great execution by Crazy Raccoon.
Well, Team Falcon now get the map pick here, obviously. So where are we taking it? Are we going to see us on the Escort? Are we heading to Circuit or something along those lines to really play to their strength?
I think there's a really good chance that we do see Circuit come out. I think for Falcons, you want to avoid something like Gibraltar. And I think, to be honest, Crazy Raccoon, they got what they wanted out of this pick, taking Flashpoint out of the pool. We got pushed right out, but it is Flashpoint that's been taken out of the pool, avoiding New Junk City. But the cost is that Falcons now has the opportunity to block something like a Gibraltar, something where, maybe Shu's on a Chorong's break. They can avoid that. I think it's most likely going to be an Escort. And be honest, Surmajet has been a great performer for this team. I think some people criticize his appearance on Team Falcons, questioning why he's on the team, but every time this guy comes in, he looks incredibly good. Midtown though, maybe wanting to block a hybrid choice, treating that as a higher priority. Still though, I mean, I think between hybrid and escort, just depends on your preference in terms of pick.
I feel like it's almost like an unspoken secret that maybe this series is gonna go to circuit. So neither team wants to pick escort, and they both want to pick like other maps to like just play to their strengths and play that, you know, confidence role. I think Falcons now really feeling less confidence, and they're picking this map because it's one of their stronger maps. They want to play into max, perhaps, and, you know, go from there.
It's going to be interesting to see the change up. I think one thing we saw in that last map that I really wanted to highlight from the Raccoons is that with so much pressure on Lip, right? The double flex DPS, we talked about how they're going to target Lip. That's what's been focused. But that leaves Heesang, the Genji swap. That's a new innovation we haven't seen yet. Traditionally, he's been always on the far to pair with the Cassidy, but Genji now can be maybe really, really aggressive. You don't have anyone comboing with you, but Junbin was playing that role, really playing to the tempo that Crazy Raccoon has been their signature all season long. And so while everyone's looking at Lip, it's Junbin and Heesang feasting on your backline, maybe not receiving enough pressure from the double flex DPS. So a new look from Raccoons that I don't think Falcons are ready for here.
So in this situation, Kasaurus, we know that both teams, they have two extremely good tank players on either team. As you're making these map picks, do you target individual substitutions to maybe try and get an edge that way?
So I feel like if you know a certain player is coming in on a certain map, I think you want to take the momentum out of like the Crazy Raccoons here. I think Junbin just played an incredible map to pick that Midtown and take Junbin out and put in maybe like a cold, you know, coming off the bench Max. I think is actually a really good choice. And I think they want to play like, oh, Junbin, Max, oh, and then Junbin has to come in cold again. I think it's such a good choice by the Falcons here.
We're very far away from like Overwatch League 2018. We're like, oh, map 5, you go in cold and see if you can clutch it out. We're very far away from those days. Now we're actually, like you said, maybe wanting to put the people on the bench in just to have them come in mid-match and maybe throw off some of that momentum that Crazy Raccoon built up here.
I mean, frankly, in the format we're playing, especially here at DreamHack, there's so many layers to it with the substitutions, but also with the opportunity to pick those maps. Did they make preparations more difficult for you and your team?
100%. I mean, I think there's so many choices on like the map. You could pick your best map. You can pick to take maps away, or you can pick for enemy substitutions. I think both teams really playing mind games here. And I think, you know, we criticized the Suravasa pick because maybe for variety's sake, like there's only 2 Flashpoint maps. So, and those two are quite similar, but I think, you know, Crazy Raccoon's really saying like, we're ready for any escort and hybrid map. So throw at us what you got. And we've seen Midtown so many times between these two teams. I think we're going to see that break map Sigma, and let's see which team can take it.
When it comes to those heroes too, I'm honestly a little worried for the Falcons because, I mean, Shu on the BAP, I mean, we talk about his Ana, we talk about his carry, but the BAP for me is where Shu shines. Like, it's ridiculous. You get on this guy's first person and check his PC. It doesn't look right. He's a freak on the BAP. He is another DPS on the server, and he doesn't stop healing. I mean, he's not abandoning his duties as a healer. He's doing it all at once. It's a little ridiculous. Chorong, the aggression, the confidence in Shu we see from that main support role. I think Chorong is at his peak on Brig. So this is a dangerous pick, but I think both these teams, like you said, tons of confidence. Maybe they want to challenge each other. Like, yeah, bring out your best. We will match it, and we'll see if that pays off for the Falcons.
But this is Falcons' map pick, so they must have something interesting prepared. I think they're going to try and have like a really set strategy against this Sigma. You know, maybe taking something from the EUs. Maybe we'll see Reinhardt, or maybe they'll go with that Mauga strat.
Wait,
I can see it.
I think maybe baiting a Sigma out as a traditional Midtown defense strategy. We've seen Falcons run Ana with the Mauga against the Sigma, leaving the Ana to often die, but get that nade off crucially on the enemy backline. And no matter how good you are at healing, you're not healing through the anti-nade. So that could be playing to some of Fielder's incredible potential on that hero, the Nano Blade combo with Proper, maybe leaning into trying to bait out some Sigma from the Falcons, or from the Raccoons rather. So who knows, strategically, I think you're right. Both these teams have something cooked up.
You just baited Reinforce into Hopium for some Reinhardt.
I just like, I'm down for a little bit of everything. You know, how far do we have to wait until we start like really going down into the depths and like, you know, the Energy Esports, Lifeweaver, Ilari comp, like, you know, when do we?
way.
No. A 1% chance, Jake? One? Can I get
Chia has
1%?
played Life Weaver before.
I mean, look, I don't hate the Life Weaver, but I don't think Falcons
I'm
is doing
memeing,
that.
but still.
I don't think Falcons is doing that here.
No.
I mean, it's 1-1 in the series. Teams could take some risks here and there. Maybe not that risky, but like something maybe a little more out there. Which of the two teams is more likely to throw a wrench in the spanner?
Oh, I definitely think it's Falcons right here. They just got beaten at Malgamir. They're picking this map to not go to Amalgamir. So we're going to see some interesting picks, I think. I think they're ready for this Maxis Sigma.
That's right. We have a lot of great head-to-heads in this very matchup. Hitting you up with some stats here as well. All right.
Yeah,
all
I mean,
right,
Proper
see
had
you.
the upper hand when it came to the Tracer duel there as well, but I feel like this is constantly going to develop. And, when you're playing this Malga compositions as well, like, it's so, like, brawly that, you can't really look at the, like, individual duels as much as it's, like, you're trying to focus different targets and try to get the damage per cost. So, we have all these fantastic individual players, but it really comes down to the teamwork and the execution, the positioning in this one, specifically when you have these volatile compositions like the Malga, for example. So, it's all about the teamwork.
It's all about teamwork makes the dream work. Tale as old as time here, of course. Looking at those two teams, which of them would struggle more against SSG if they're dropping down to the lower bracket?
To be honest, I think Falcons have the download on the European teams. I think they came. That was the first two matches.
Not according
in
to
the
Hadi, they don't.
Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. But they came to the tournament. They played both those teams. They sent them to the lower bracket with ease. Yeah, you got one draw on Nabani with a cheeky back cap, but you didn't win a map. No one has won it. None of the European teams have won a map against Falcons, and to be honest, I can't expect anything to be different if that's what we've seen. There wasn't even the glimmer of hope so far. So maybe the Rhine, maybe that is the mix-up, but to be honest, I think Falcons have prepared for anything that could come. Crazy Raccoon, to be honest, I don't think they're going to have much trouble either. I think they have the flexibility to match.
But if I were to pick one, I'd say Falcons have them download. I think that Venture Genji works so well into the European Baptiste. We see both Europeans teams like playing that Baptiste, and SSG, if you can force Landon to swap off, I think you're in a tough spot. So I think they're gonna pull it through on that Rhine comp, on that Malga comp, on the Ramatra comp, and I think, Falcons has such a good matchup into that. So if I'm SSG right now, I'm hoping that Crazy Raccoons loses so that I can face them.
Seriously, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, it is to be said that I think these two are the best teams in the tournament so far. And in many ways, this is a preview, I think, of the grand finals, regardless of who loses in this series. But that just makes it so much more interesting when it comes to the in-depth stuff, right? Because in many ways, you want to learn as much as you can about your opponent, because this is just the winner brackets finals. You want to win the grand finals. And so it's about getting a good read before then, too.
But in this situation, though, what do you do? Maybe some insight from you here. Are you holding anything back in order to make it to the finals? And then if you're expecting to see the same team there again, will you be holding something back?
I feel like in this tournament, actually going through the upper bracket has been more valuable than in any other Overwatch tournament so far. You get the first map pick that's absolutely massive because of this losers pick system. So I think Crazy Raccoons and Falcons definitely aren't holding anything back. I think they're going to put it all on the table so that they can value test their matchups and go into this finals.
That's right. Everything on the table. They do want that advantage going through the upper bracket. Let's see which team can get it done as we're heading into map number 3.
Our Titans for the APAC region are locked at 1 apiece in this series, and a substitution sees Max come on in for Junbin. Notably, Matthew, no sign of Margin yet today. Fielder looked very good on the Baptiste on Oasis.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, I think that Fielder, look, he's tremendous on all of the flex supports. If you didn't want to take him out, you don't have to.
But that Shu Bap,
yeah, it's true.
That's something a little bit different. Noted by the desk is probably his most famed hero. I think actually initially, when Shu came on the scene with Guangzhou Charge, it was his Ana that lit the world on fire. But yeah, he made Bap famous.
It'll be Crazy Raccoons here on defense here to start. So Sigma-based composition, they bring Max into the game for Junbin to play that. And
what is this?
look at what Hadi's done.
You happy now, Hardy? All right, we'll see if they stick with this. TP up the high ground and cross the choke without taking any poke damage. Important against the Sigma comp, who wants to work the Reinhardt down before he can get there.
They are not running the sim with it, right? So Proper actually going to end up playing the Cassidy, playing some hit scan for that Pharah.
They switched off it. Gonna go for it. Straight through the train they go. He's saying actually splits them up there with a concussive blast, and Fielder eats a rocket for free. Nicely done. I mean, you're not dodging a fire strike in that train car. No siree. The bar is down. This is awkward though for Falcons. The Ryan comes crashing down.
They take so much damage on the way in, right? I mean, they do end up getting Heesang as Heesang gets into a really awkward spot going the opposite way down that train car. So some changes now here for Falcons.
Yeah, enough of that. Venture Malga it is.
Yeah, we know like hit scan, right? You play the Tracer here, the hit scan is essentially Fielder for that far up in the sky.
Murphy wants to make his way in, knows the Sigma is going to be an issue, but Max concedes that high ground awfully early in the piece, and there's that hit scan, goes to work. Fielder got rid of Lip with a lot of involvement for the rest of Falcons, and hey, who would have thought the comp switch pays off? They're moving up, 5 versus 3 it is. Proper over to recall there as Max tries to hold his ground. Stalker wants the pressure, wants to make it costly for Raccoons to push it up to the point.
Yeah, they don't even have to push around the corner here, Falcons, right? As you see how low Max gets, as Max gets quite low, and then when the supports try and push up, they have a Maga stomping in their face. That'll be Falcons taking the first point.
Yeah. Crazy Raccoons bit the curb in that fight. Now Falcons set up here behind Fielder's amplification matrix. Again, in this composition, more for Fielder's own use than anyone else's.
Sigma bring on a Venture here for Crazy Raccoon. So this is we've seen the Venture played mostly with the
Proper Widow?
Now proper Widow here. So
all right, we got a little crazy here. It's what you get when two teams know each other so well. And Casper has pointed this out. They're going to pull out all the stops to try and get into that final from the upper bracket. Nice headshot on Lip, but he's nano boosted, so it's going to take a couple more than that. Good hits from Dropper, but yeah, Crazy Raccoon swarming all over the Falcons.
yes, Heesang gets the high ground as well. So 3-4 hit in the fight. But yeah, I mean, Lip's going to be very difficult. I mean, he takes a few headshots there from Proper, but he's got the benefits of the nano boost that come in from Shu. Almost impossible. I mean, give Lip space, he's going to come up with some big plays.
They're going for this. They commit the sound barrier here. They're able to fire to kill, but it's 1-for-1 stuff. Yeah, spawn advantage here favors Falcons. So trading is acceptable. They spend that Lucio ultimate.
I mean, it's a winning fight, right? You're able to get the fight win there, so they actually stagger Heesang out, just stuck in front of the Falcon spawn. So now we'll see a Maga mirror here. You're just not going to play the Tracer here if you're Crazy Raccoon. And then also, this is something that we saw that Falcons did earlier in the tournament, right? Where they played this Ana Lucio backline. So they've moved exclusively almost over to the Baptiste.
Yeah, Fielder trusted to fill that role. Hard to argue with that decision. He's saying, of course, that the splash damage off those harpoons is pretty effective in those tight corridors. Gio got flattened there, I think. But he's able to come in behind Smurf, who's got a big stop. He got Chorok. Max is down. This is heavy stuff. Stalker able to find that elimination on Heesang. The Falcons are closing the gap. Mid-ultimate, though, Stalker is slept. The fight's already won.
Yeah, I mean, even with that sleep on the Stalker, there's nothing you can really do there. Falcons running it down now ever since we've had a kind of compositional change even mirror this Maga is a cardiac overdrive. Smurf runs away, gets backwards the car. They try and contest, but they don't make it there, so that's going to be the second checkpoint there for Falcons.
Yeah, they lose Choron there as well to Pulse Bomb that was really meant for Max. Falcons coming alive in these last couple of moments after switching to this Venture setup. Let's mode over, able to find one for his troubles. That's not enough, really a constellation only. The Falcons do a very good job of setting the line of scrimmage quite far forward.
Yeah, now they're playing with Genji Rika here. So Falcons, Crazy Raccoon just trying to make some changes. Quite notably, the only thing they really haven't changed is playing this Cassidy. They want to try and force this hit scan into the mix.
You can see spots where it's found value. That's just a beauty from Heesang. Great predict Shuriken. Better lucky than good sometimes, and if you got both, then hey, you're laughing all the way to the bank.
And we'll see how far they decide to push. The Immortality Guild in the spawn there for Falcons is they chase down fielder is maybe you can actually come out of this as Chio's going to use Sound Barrier. This is Sound Barrier for Crazy Raccoons as well, only connects with 3.
I like it from Lip though. Smurf doesn't get the Sound Barrier. So he's able to work that Malga down, and this is getting chaotic. Crazy Raccoon able to fight back here, despite Falcons committing a Sound Barrier after picking Hisang off. It's inconclusive, but the card is on the move once more. Care of Chio.
Yes, Hisang gets back into the mix, so maybe you don't have the Sound Barrier back up when Blade comes through, but I think if you're Falcons, you look at, hey, we want to finish this one right here, right? You have the cage fight pulse bomb plus the Venture ultimate coming on, so it's going to be cage fight for both teams.
The Deadeye cage fight makes this a bit complicated. Waiting, holding, finds the shot proper down. He waited until the cage fell, and the curtain comes down on that fight for Falcons.
All right, so you get a fight win here for Crazy Raccoon as he's saying we'll have this Blade, nothing on the other side to stop. And look at how aggressive they've been getting, like consistently up to the spawn door here, wanting to force out some of these ultimates resources as they try and get out of the spawn.
Man,
costly.
He's saying again, last time we got punished, if you remember, that's when Falcons committed Chio's beat and tried to take a fight, rush back in. This time much cleaner from Hisang, getting good stack of kills, showing aggression without overcommitting there, leaving Crazy Raccoon at full strength now, spawn camping.
Hisang's had a really good series thus far. Blade.
Stunned instantly! That might have been the stop, I think!
I think it was.
Good little turnabout by Smurf to receive Hisang. Falcons though waiting on it. They need to get top back up inside the immortality field, and now it's go time. And make tricks there is, well, it's aggressive. Crazy Raccoon fall back from it. They do have the capacity to disengage here. Shu able to use a swift step to get back to the rest of his team, but here come Falcons. Here comes Smurf. Proper there as well. We're going to push up to the Venture Ultimate. Sound Barrier even committed along with the Kitsune Rush. Crazy Raccoon love to fight. They're born to do it. Hisang here around the kiosk will eventually be brought down by proper Glocksim. A dash from Max to get away from the Tracer. Shu drops down, knows proper is coming. You can hear the pitter-patter of those Tracer footsteps. Cardiac overdrive now as Crazy Raccoon try and find a way to stand tall, to stand their ground. Fielder briefly switching to the Moira, but thinks better of it. Finally, Crazy Raccoon taking their feet off the gas. There's 10 seconds left for Falcons to make this last push.
Yes, they tried to get around the corner, deal with Proper or Chio. It'll be Falcons. They'll be able to get a touch, but look with another Deadeye.
Here it is. Lip lets it go. Chio, ooh, somehow gets away, but Chorong's got the extra damage to follow up. Cardiac overdrive for Smurf, but lacks the healing, lacks the backup on Chio. Dangerous here. Immortality field removed by Falcons. They don't have enough to be going on with. They're going to have to be content with a 79, 80 meter push through the last phase of the map.
Maybe an odd start there for Falcons, trying to run the Reinhardt comp. Did not work out, but back to kind of like Maga Venture-based stuff, is able to do a nice job there to get the payload pretty far down here towards the end of the map. As I'm curious now what we see from Crazy Raccoon on offense, right? Playing some of that Sigma, you have Max in the game, a little bit of a different hero pool, and Junbin. What do we see them decide to do now on offense?
So much of the conversation on the desk has been about the pace of play from these teams, and I think that was really exemplified there.
Is it true that Jaws is scared of the pigeons? Somebody said that to me the other day, but I wasn't.
Honestly, I believe it. I don't really know why. That's fine. I think, again, it's the fish side of him. I think he feels threatened by, someone that is above him on the food chain, in theory.
Pigeons eat fish?
They probably would have played good. That's a good point. I don't know. Birds eat fish, right? You're an ornithologist.
Neither am I, surprisingly.
Yeah, that is 6 years of callback humor right there. If you get it, I'll be very impressed.
Right.
That is a Volskaya Industries line. Oh, buddy.
We paid it off, though. 6 years later, they paid that one off.
No one did. No one's going to get it.
Anyway, the pace of play, right?
Yeah.
The decisions there from Crazy Raccoon to spawn camp and then to pull back, it happened so fast.
Yeah, and for Falcons, this is something that we actually see sometimes on circuit, right? That Life Weaver with the Pharah being able to kind of keep Stalker in the air a little bit longer than per usual, right? Using kind of the pedal as a bit of a launch pad of new ground.
Here we go, I'm going to catch, says Max, but who's he after exactly? Well, we're not sure. He makes his way though very deep. Chio, yes, so exploitable of course from that Life Weaver. Able to get up to the high ground. but Popper is able to use that window to deal with Lip, so no passing for the attackers. Smurf comes trundling back in, Big Bad bustling, ready to do Pauper business. Max receives him though, comfortably handles it. Nice Suzu to cleanse off the sleep. Falcons are being overrun here behind to the point. Crazy Raccoon now can double back and get the tap.
Yeah, they just run straight through the choke, right? Max just runs straight into the corner. They make a play for Chio. He's just completely out of the fight, right? They deal with him, and then Falcons has no choice but to double back. It's not worked out for them on defense, as that is a fast point they take for Crazy Raccoon.
Yeah, 5:21 to play here. Nice position to be in. Lip, though, not so much a factor in their last fight. Proper able to take him to task pretty comfortably. Stalker now has to play maybe a little differently. This is a wide open expanse that Lip can navigate a bit more comfortably as a hit scan DPS. Sorry, the height line that you have to play as far.
Yeah, I mean, Falcons trying to like set up here on the high ground, right? You see the bar not really going up high into this guy, knows how dangerous it is playing with ground Lip on that opposite side of this wall. And maybe now with Rocket Barrage, we see a combination of like Barrage with a grip back.
Like
there
grip?
it is, yeah.
Okay, no kills from that barrage here, but enough to get Crazy Raccoon to disengage.
Not even a lot of damage.
Didn't force the ult either.
Yeah.
Consumer Rush comes down, Smurf was a little overextended relative to the rest of his team. This is great for Crazy Raccoon.
The grip happens so fast. There's not really like an opportunity to put down like
Too fast?
large, amounts of damage. I think obviously you're always worried when your far goes and rocket barrages, but in the past we've seen them kind of extend it, let Stalker's HP go just about to the limit and then grip back. That time it's rocket barrage, instant life grip, and they don't really get anything for it, not even an ultimate force out.
This is pretty disastrous for Falcons. This is going awful fast. Deadeye, stop. Here comes Smurf, he's on the scene, but a sound barrier here means Lip doesn't have to worry. Chio, hell yeah, he's been lined up by Heesang, who gets a free lift. Able to avoid him though, love the moves from Chio. Heesang brought down by Stalker in the meantime. But elsewhere, the sheer weight of numbers has favored Crazy Raccoon. They're gonna get this one home. It's gonna be an absolutely immense time bank to work with. 5 minutes, wow.
As they are just running through Falcons at the moment, over 5 minutes to not even complete the map, right? Just 80 meters needed here for Crazy Raccoon to take a lead in the series. His Falcons seems like a little bit of desperation here, right? Now, because you've run that comp for such a long time, you're resetting ultimates on 3 players across the board. Yeah. It'll be very difficult.
So where's your stopping power supposed to come from? Maybe a Malga ultimate? That doesn't seem great.
Nothing to really combo with like that Maga ultimate though at the moment.
Okay, throw down the cage fight. Smurf is clinging desperately to life. Very, very low here. Cage is removed, Smurf low. Doubt Lip gonna break through here. Crazy Raccoon or an avalanche on Chat Mountain. Okay. Chio able to stave off Heesang here. He's actually in a bit of trouble. I mean, you've got to respect it. You've got to respect what Chio can do there. Chorong not nearly as fortunate in the Lucio versus anyone matchup.
It feels like the last 2 always alive for Falcons are somehow Proper and Chio, as they always make it quite interesting towards the end. So they're able to pick up a few kills, at least slow Crazy Raccoon down. That's going to allow Falcons to get back in for another fight.
Max got 2 kills off the back of that engagement though, so Falcons had to disengage. You saw Smurf charging backwards, never a good sign for Malga. Poke damage here now, Shu's getting ready for a Katsune Rush, but in they go. Venture pops up, Stalker now might be getting some attention. They pop their ultimate, but Smurf's already down. It's a disaster. It's an unmitigated catastrophe for Falcons. Crazy Raccoon snowballing that ult advantage that the Falcons had to give up by switching their comp as late as they did. And now we're on the precipice of a MAC victory for CR. Smurf's gonna have to try and charge out here. A little indirect as he tries to avoid some of the poke damage, and Stalker's going in there under cover of Subterranea. It's not enough. It's the watch, folks. Crazy Raccoon up 2-1.
Yeah, and I was like, maybe Falcons will make this a little bit interesting because Chio ends up getting the beat there at the end, but as he's about to drop, it gets sliced up by Heesang.
It's interesting. Hey, sure. It's like watching a documentary where the apex predator just goes to town on its food. I was watching. I'm sure the desk was too. Let's hear from them on Midtown.
Indeed, we were watching that series for once we get paid to do so. But also, we do enjoy some good Overwatch, and that's what the teams are delivering. I'm back here on the desk with Jake, with Thesaurus, as well as Johnny to break it all down for you. I mean, Crazy Raccoon running away with this one, and quite frankly, on the attack, on the defense there, was clear for Team Falcons. They just started to throw the kitchen sink at the floor.
They cooked a little too much. That one was burning up.
We got one attempt. We got one attempt with the Reinhardt, and then it was like, oh, it's over. It's over.
You all called it the Ryan, and then the Lifeweaver made it sneaky for
Crazy
you.
Raccoon was so ready though with the Ana Farah. That's
Yeah.
a very unique strategy on the defense. We haven't seen that, I think, at least on Midtown. They played it on Kings Row previously. We were talking about, but I mean, the Ryan Sim, it's nice, but Ana Farah just eats you up on those TPs.
Right, the Ryan works really well into that break bap Sigma, but I feel like the Crazy Raccoons comp with the Farah and the Ana is just too much poke for the Ryan to sit on point, so they have to push, but I feel like Crazy Raccoons really had their number there. I think, you know, the story of this match has really been Falcons is trying to avoid the Malgamir now after that Suravasa, and Crazy Raccoons is happily taking it, and you can see this Heesang Genji, I think, is the game changer for me.
Yeah, I mean, the big question heading into this as we were setting up this match, Johnny, was can Lip get away with playing Cassidy? Surely the Heesang Genji has opened that up for him.
Yeah, I mean, he was incredibly comfortable on this Cassidy and everything. I think I look at the stats as well. I mean, Crazy Raccoon, they were in control that entire series, getting so much value on this Cassidy. I mean, he's the best hit-scan player in the world as well. Still building towards that GOAT contention that we've been talking about on the Dust 2, but like, it's so lethal as well. Proper playing Tracer in that matchup. I feel like Lip was really comfortable there. But I agree with Kazuras here. Now, if you're Crazy Raccoon going into the series with question, can they hang with Falcons' Mauga composition here? Now it's almost like, bring it. Like, let's play more Mauga, right? Because we have the advantage in this one. So now it gets even more interesting for Falcons. Like, are you still gonna keep playing the Mauga, or do you give up and maybe go to other maps, like we've seen Circuit Real, for example, where maybe we've seen some other Sigma compositions being played?
For me, I think, honestly, Heesang's Genji is a massive spanner in the works. I think Falcons came into this match, especially looking at that flex support role with the Batiste as their pocket pick in the comp, thinking, okay, you're going to run Casfara, you're going to play so passive and poke, and we're going to get away with a Baptiste just gunning you down from the back line while my DPS chop up your DPS with that Genji venture. But I think the swap to Genji just completely changes the game. Now there's a hero on the server that is actively hunting your Batiste. He's just trying to survive, and then the ult trades so favoring that Kiriko. I mean, the Kitsune Rush, every time these Maugas face off under a Kitsune Rush, I mean, it's not close. The cooldown cycle is so valuable. The attack speed is insane on like a Mauga to Mauga brawl. The lifesteal is just out of control. And so, honestly, Crazy Raccoons, I think the Genji pick is just genius right now. I think they found the response. Falcons back to the drawing board.
Kasaras, would you say that this Genji pick is specifically for Team Falcons? Is that a result of what we've seen from Team Falcons in the last 2 days with their double flex DPS?
Yeah, I'd say so 100%. I think that Baptiste, like Jake talked about, is so good against the Pharah and the Echo, which Crazy Raccoons like to pull out. But now Heesang's come out on the Genji. He's completely shutting that down, forcing a mirror. And the big thing for me is Falcons don't seem comfortable right now. They're putting proper on this Tracer in the Malgamir. I don't think the Tracer keeps up the tempo that the Genji can bring, and the Cassidy's now roaming free. So I think Falcons really need to pick like more comfort maps, and they need to make sure that they can bring the brawl to Lip instead of Lip roam so free.
Yeah, so how can they avoid? Where should we take it in order to not have Lip just firing in a shooting range?
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem, right? Because even if you go to Circuit Real, for example, which, you know, even if we do see some kind of like alternate compositions coming out, which is not the Mauga, I mean, I'd love to see a Lip versus, you know, proper kind of like Widowmaker duel, but, you know, TBD on if that's going to happen. I think it's an interesting question. I feel like if you go to a map like maybe like Route 66, like you'll probably see more of this stuff, right? I don't think we're going to see much difference. So when it comes to the escort maps, you know, Gibraltar again, I feel like Crazy Raccoon is the favorite in this one. Maybe you shake things up going to Circuit Real. I feel like it's really tough for Falcons. So like, they're really on the back foot, and I don't think there's an obvious answer here. Like, what is your next choice?
It has to be a choice between Gibraltar and Circuit Royale. I think they can't force that Malgamir anymore. I think they need to go back to the drawing board and figure out how to play that better. I think now they can really bring Falcons or bring Crazy Raccoons out of their game, pick a map where they don't have to Malgamir, which I think both Gibraltar and Circuit Royale are great picks for that.
I think they've got to drop the BAP. Wherever they go, I would have thought going into the series it would have been great, but I think the Genji is the perfect response. I don't think BAP works into the Genji. The tempo is just not there when the Genji's constantly attacking your BAP. You're peeling back to defend. So I think that'll be a real challenge as we do go to New Queen Street. So both teams disrespecting the escort pool, feeling like they can win it. New Queen Street, what I want to see most of all, though, is I want to see actually a match of Fielder rather on the Kiriko. I think you've got to take the Kiriko mirror, at least as long as the Genji's in the server. the map's not working.
Yeah, Kasoris, you shrugged when you saw the pick. What was your reaction to New Queen Street?
I think, you know, both teams are shrugging off the Escort in the whole tournament, and even in the Asia playoffs, we've seen teams pick Escort first because that's the most varied map pool. So I think maybe both these teams know what the enemy team's gonna pick for Escort, and they're ready for it. So they're both playing chicken, oh, you pick Escort, you pick Escort. Nobody's picking Escort, but this means that, you know, Falcons must have something cooking up on New Queen Street, and I can't help but feel like Push, that's like Lucio Kingdom. That's where the Mauga comp is at its best.
Well, I'm excited for this one. Not as confident about our predictions there anymore. We also have a sub coming in, so we should be getting confirmation. Okay, yeah, Max is out, jumping in. What does that tell you, Jake?
I mean, I don't think strategically this is going to be a huge shift for the teams. I think it's about comfort, about map pool. In the end, I think we are going to continue to see more of the Mauga, at least out of Crazy Raccoon. I think it's going to take Falcons finding an answer to force a change. And to be honest, I think based on how the series has gone so far, I think they're going to play with a ton of confidence and a ton of tempo. So far, Falcons has been completely unable to set the pace, to get on top of Lip. That was their game plan going into the series. Get on top of this back line and be the ones taking the tempo. Junbin has been hugely gapping on that front. Smurf has not been able to find the same level of aggression as a unit. They're not able to lead the game.
Going into New Queen Street here, you know, we talked a little bit about Proper sticking on that Tracer on Midtown, for example, but maybe didn't get the room really there to be enabled. Going into this map as well, do you think that maybe they're trying to force a bit of a Tracer duel here? Or do you think that Crazy Raccoon, they don't care, they're just gonna stick to what they already played?
I feel like with the Mauga comp, the Tracer is so weak, so if they want to play the Tracer, they have to play a different composition. I think this map, they're really trying to force it because they're scared of the other two push maps, right? They really want to go to this map so they don't have to Mauga mirror. So it's really up to Falcons now to find an answer to this Mauga composition from Crazy Raccoons that looks so deadly.
It's a great Tracer map, but I'm not sure even Proper can make the Tracer work in the comp. I agree. I think it's just the tempo's not there. The aggression, the consistency, you can't stay in on top of the cast.
Well, we're about to find out. New Queen Street is coming up, and we have a match point for Crazy Raccoon. Let's see if we can close it out.
Ever since Oasis, Falcons have slowly lost their grip on this series, map by map. Now backed into a corner. New Queen Street, is that the silver bullet that gets them out?
I kind of agree with the desk in that I think the Baptiste is just a really easy target for that Genji in that situation. That I think if you're going to go, it's probably the wise move now to put Fielder on like a Greek in that instance. So we'll see what going to New Queen Street does for Falcons. It seems like both teams probably have a good idea of where Escort would go. Maybe it's a strength for both teams. Nobody wants to pick it. I also think nobody probably, for Falcons, right, you probably wouldn't want to see like a Coliseo or Esperanza. So give yourself a chance here on New Queen Street.
Well, it worked for them pretty well on Oasis. We were definitely impressed by how they were able to get value out of this Mauga composition, but since then we've seen the mirror. Crazy Raccoon more than happy to throw down.
So even with this Venture comp, which has been really good, they've still been losing here to this Cassidy Genji matchup.
On the Baptiste again.
Yeah, and I think it's also like Shu is able to have a little bit more, personal survivability and whatnot on the Rico, right? You can, swift step out of the way. You can play in the back line with that Genji if need be. Not easy target for the Mauga and the Venture.
Gunman gets flattened there though. See Proper boost back briefly, immediately dashes forward. He knows that's the timing that Falcons are trying to play off of. Pretty shocking to see such a big health puller like Mauga's disappear in a second like that, but that's what this composition can do. See Falcons start with the lead.
Yeah, I mean, Junbin's dead before the fight even really began. Just kind of like steps up. Maybe did not expect all that burst damage to come on down. Nothing you could do without your Mauga, right? It was just obviously the tank, super important, but cardiac overdrive.
Yeah,
important cooldown.
I mean, Mauga doesn't have as much damage mitigation cooldowns as other tanks. It's really healing than he needs in his time. And he's not been given any.
I mean, it looks like Junbin's got half the health of Smurf.
Yeah, it's like a duped Mauga, you know?
Yeah.
Little dollar store Mauga. Little Mauga at home action, you know?
Yeah, Mauga has two hearts. It looks like the single hearted version of Mauga there.
Yeah, he needs to complete some more dungeons, give them heart piece, you know what I'm saying? Drawing up on the high ground now. Here's the Ant just go off awfully early. My goodness, Falcons are hitting hard and hitting fast. Smurf wants to back up a little bit here as Heesang gets ahead of the Ant Matrix, but in we come once more. Smurf looks to reassume the position as Stalker wants to play back behind him as Crazy Raccoon has that later sound barrier. Stomp comes in, but look how low Falcons are. The blade from Heesang hoping to punctuate this. And he's gotten Crazy Raccoon out of the submission hold.
Yeah, Falcons tried to back up there, but not able to disengage as then the blade comes out from Heesang. Heesang has had a huge series in my opinion on the Genji. It's just been so instrumental in their success. This will get the bot moving here for CR as the bad part here for Crazy Raccoons is Proper's got a blade and you have no sound barrier.
Yeah, you're just going to have to grit your teeth and find a way to fight through this. If you're Crazy Raccoon. Falcons reaching a peak in ultimate charge. So no real reason for them to lose this fight, but I've said that before in this series. They will be contending with a Deadeye from here. No support ultimates to answer that either.
In Crazy Raccoon, they don't want to like exactly just kind of push in here around the corner. This is a great spot for the Venture to fight as the lift, even with that Deadeye, is killed instantly. You saw they were like playing on top, of the boss in there, whatnot. Maybe trying to get off of the bot a little bit. And I think it becomes a little bit of a scary situation for Falcons because, like, okay, you just kind of poke there at a distance, they build up beat, like what happens with the blade. Don't even need to use the blade there to win it. Finally, Crazy Raccoon decides to engage in that fight with the Deadeye to open things up, and it's not worked out.
Falcons only had to use their Venture ultimate to win that convincingly. Not a great sign. Crazy Raccoon again on the back foot. For real. And literally trying to get away from this one. Smurf turns tail and runs, but now he's going to have to stand his ground and fight. Cage fight thrown down. German has it removed, but Smurf is still in play with an immortality kill to back it up. Falcons have to find something here. And they do. Proper eventually bisects Slip with that Dragon Blade. And the cleanup is quality. Shu will have to hold on to that Kitsune up for a later date.
So interesting, we talked about like, oh, do you have to drop the Baptiste? I think we thought that, like, okay, you probably do, right? Nice. Shot there from Proper towards the end. Not know how to go back.
Checkpoint.
Proper seems kind of hard to vote. But they have made this work here, at least so far here on New Queen Street. Heesang's not been able to get as much devastating pressure onto the backline as we've seen in the last few matches.
Heesang's in the backline right now. He was behind Falcons and he comes with the blade. That immortality kill did not last long at all. Jun being able to pick that up instantly. So once again, the Newton's Cradle swings back. But Crazy Raccoon find themselves without that checkpoint. They need to get butt scratch status going here.
They'll have Deadeye, speed boost kind of like Deadeye around the corner. They tried that the last time, right? But the pressure was so fast from Falcons in their face. Stalker will get close to this Venture ultimate.
Barricades on the move.
Checkpoint would be huge here.
Lip has a fairly safe spot here. Deadeye, Proper deflecting, and he gets out.
Cool.
Nothing off that Deadeye, but some room for Crazy Raccoon to breathe. That's fine. But no other ultimates to play off of. Stalker has that ultimate. Here it is, Cardiac Overdrive. Stalker dives. Periscope up. Falcons are back in control here now, and Matrix built.
Yeah, I think it's the same type of thing I was talking about before. I don't think Crazy Raccoon exactly wants to take this fight around the corner. It's a good spot for the Venture to fight in. So they will back up, try and fight from the spot where maybe you can get Lip set up on some of that high ground.
Stalker backs up here, takes a bit of poke. Lip definitely threatening to the Venture at these kind of ranges. Crazy Raccoon set up in a position to try and get their Cassidy online. Here's another blade. They back away. With the hindrance there for Proper, but he mostly shrugs it off now as the blade goes to work. Lip with one, and Shu gets caught. We'll have a 2-for-1 deal. Falcons again in control. The bot is headed back to parity.
Yeah, his Venture does a great job of accessing the backline, right? But they don't really have a great way of kind of using the verticality to get it off. So that's kind of why they're playing around that area. They're just trying to force it like where the Genji can get to that high ground. The Venture really can't. So once they kind of get Crazy Raccoon to come around the corner and not force them to push in and fight with that high ground, that's where the Venture comp has a little bit of an advantage.
Goodman chose to use Cardiac Overdrive while he was being staggered, so that got drawn out a little bit longer than maybe he would have liked. Trying to threaten Falcons into, just getting the elimination. But we go. Suja already used the start of the fight here. He's saying again, wants to punish the Baptiste. Choron got to kill the first though. All right, Crazy Raccoon gets back in the game once more with 3 minutes 30 on the clock. They're behind by about 20 meters, so they need to win the next fight. Maybe the next 2.
I feel like each fight is basically just like a replay. It's like we kind of go back and forth.
Same flow
with
chart.
the same type of flow on both sides of things. So you'll have to have CR go back, escort Lip back into the fight. So, okay, this might be a little bit different here. Junkman has to be so careful, gets extremely low.
Crazy Raccoon never give up on the ground. They just gained from winning the fight, man. All of a sudden, they're no better off than they were before.
Yeah, they lost Lip, so they have to go back up, get Lip, escort him all the way back to the rest of the team. Kind of slows things down. Junkman comes down the steps. No Cassidy to strike any fear in Falcons, and he gets extremely low. They have to back out.
Here's the rush cage match though, thrown up. And we see Stu dive on into it. Blade now from Proper. Where's his target? Immortality Field from Fielder is gone, but it's done his job. Falcons are still standing tall. It's Lip and Smurf traded out. 4v4 is he saying no, shuts Fielder down. It doesn't bode well for Falcons in the longer fight. Crazy Raccoon finally 2 in a row, 1, and what a deflect from Heesang.
They're putting together a montage here. Heesang, that was a sick deflect. And this is a huge opportunity here for CR. Heesang's got this blade, nothing on the other side. You at least need checkpoints out of this.
Yes. And again, the back cap there from Stalker means that Crazy Raccoon are about 5-10 seconds behind that. So they need to win 2 fights again. Oh, wow, flanky ultimate here from Stalker. Audacious. Up we pop. Heesang says, that was a base, that Immortality Field. I'm going to ignore it. Just gets Fielder with the blade. That's probably enough here. Crazy Raccoon again, maybe a 3rd consecutive fight win on the docket. They might have a way back into this game. This could mean checkpoint, folks.
Guess what? You might, you're going to lose here the Maga late, so keep an eye on when these players come up off of spawn. We're down below 2 minutes. Okay. Not a ton of time if Falcons gives up a lead to battle back into it. So, Matt, game on. Yeah, there's going to be a stoppage here, right? For that checkpoint. So you're going to gain some time here for Falcons to regroup and come around this corner.
Falcons lost the last 3 fights in a row. They've got to get back in the game. Deadeye Lip sees Fielder, doesn't pull the trigger though. Oh, it's so confusing. He gets the Ant Matrix though. Smurf's going to be the first to fall though, so it's a Malgalus Falcons that have to make their way from here. Stalker's done a great job getting rid of both DPS though. They might be enough, but tanks are strong in this game. The fact that Crazy Raccoon have one means that they are far from done. Back to their advantage now. Stalker a little bit low. Junpin feeling a little lonesome in this position. Has to turn tail. Or inside of a minute. They're going to try and stagger him out, man. Cage fight even used by Junpin here. He turns it into a kill on Chio. Here come the reinforcements, but Junpin is low. Smurf though doesn't get away with this. It's utter pandemonium. It's Crazy Raccoon want to keep pushing up. They're still behind.
But it's quite big that Proper actually takes the bot, takes it in the other direction, kills both supports, doesn't go chase the Maga, takes the bot back towards that mid-map. It actually buys Falcons a lot of time to come back into the fight with a lot of good ultimates.
Double DPS ults. The sound barrier to answer the blade for Choron is paramount. But even after that, there's plenty more for Falcons that's available. Falcons want that map 5. They want to decide here. Smurf's going to push up now. Stalker pops the ultimate immediately. Takes some poke from the Genji, but not too bothered. Still damage on Heesang. It's going to be a sound barrier now that comes out. Proper's holding onto the blade, though he still has it available. And he pulls it late. Here's the cage fight. In we go, Proper. Sees shoot low. Descends upon his prey. Dive bombs into Crazy Raccoon. And Team Falcons have secured another map for themselves. This one is going all the way.
Falcons pulls it out in the end here to give us a game 5. We were talking like, oh, Fielder, you have to drop this Baptiste. The Bap's not looking great. They continue to run it, even with Heesang and Genji on the other side. Now I think this will be kind of like a really interesting moment. Why we've all been wondering, like, okay, typically we've seen hybrid escort, first 2 things picked. It kind of comes now all the way down to the end. It's like, okay, why are we not seeing escort? What are we going to see here from Crazy Raccoon?
All right, I can't wait to hear some conjecture, some guesswork here from the desk. There's a lot to talk about on New Queen Street. Let's head over to our panel to catch us up on what we just witnessed, which was a mess.
It's an analyst desk. It's a panel.
Panel of experts.
I know. It's Yeah, it makes me feel like more of an expert. I do dig it. Heading into this match, Jake, you were concerned about the Baptiste. You also touched on it, that this might be an issue here. You'd rather see the Kiriko. Fielder did stick to that Baptiste, though, and that made it work really well.
Yeah, I mean, I think New Queen Street, maybe that's the reason for the map selection, is there's so many juking paths for Baptiste. He has all these little ledges he can hop up to, hop down, and while Genji can follow you, I think having a little bit more range, like compared to Suravasa, at least so much easier to fall back and yet still be effective and still heal your team. I also feel the team fight execution, Proper's Genji was on fire on New Queen Street. The combos with Smurf as well with that cage fight, so incredibly well executed. They're able to hold it down, but that was a very close map. I mean, he's saying still battling back on the Genji. This is a serious dogfight when it comes to the Genji mirror.
And that's another small adaptation we're seeing throughout the series. Well, okay, the Tracer didn't work out for us. We're going to swap over to and mirror this Genji as well. And I mean, it's really worked out. Genji has been the pivotal hero in this series because, I mean, Heesang has had tremendous impact on the Genji as well. Every time Heesang pulls the Dragon Blade, he's targeting Fielder. And for most of that map, I felt like Heesang got the better of Fielder every time he pulled out that Dragon Blade. But when Falcons is playing with the lead, they're able to utilize those corners and really force Crazy Raccoon to push into Fielder's line of sight, and really create some distance as well. Because if Lip is playing on the Cassidy, I mean, there's so much room between the Cassidy and the Baptiste. So Fielder, he's pretty comfortable playing those long sidelines.
It was such a close game, though. I mean, look at those stats. This was really just one team fight away to go the other side.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like a big change here is on Suravasa and the Malgramir. Falcons look quite sloppy. They had some deaths here and there. Their ult combos weren't on point. I feel like on this map, their ult value was so incredible. Like their cage fights, their blades, every time they found value. And even though I think the Baptiste window is a lot worse than the Kiriko ult, I think they made it work. I think they threw down a variable, and with, you know, their tempo being a lot higher than they showed on Suravasa and being able to take the fight to the Crazy Raccoons, they looked a lot better.
They did indeed. And Matt touched on it as they were wrapping up the cast. This also means that we're now at 2-2 score. We're going to an Escort map 5, which we've not done thus far. Very interesting. I think we would have expected to see Escort coming up a lot sooner. Now, of course, the big question is, which Escort map will they be taking us to?
I mean, you have such a huge decision ahead of you as Crazy Raccoon right now. There's such variety in the Escort map pick pool. It's the reason we see this map pick almost always come out first after Control in the series. You could go to Gibraltar and just throw a huge wrench into the series, force a potential Winston dive comp. Who knows how that would go?
But if you want to play the Mauga composition, I mean, it would make a lot of sense if you took it to Route 66 here, I feel like, right? Because if you're going to Gibraltar, if you're going to Circuit Real, I mean, a lot of these. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just joking. I mean, I've literally seen it on the monitor over there. Matt did big sixes at me, so I'm just sorry. Trying to sound smart here, but yes, we are going to Route 66 actually. So, I mean, what's your gut reaction to that, Kasaurus? Knowing that we're going to Route 66, what do you think it means for the series?
I feel like Route 66 is like the map where you can play dive and you can play Mauga. So I wonder if Jumpin's gonna pull out like a Winston, or if they're gonna go hard for that.
Do you
Mauga
really think
composition.
you can match the Winston into the Mauga compositions we're seeing?
I feel like Route second point and first point has like quite strong high ground. So historically, it's been more of a Mauga map. But like, I feel like if you're the Crazy Raccoons, if you want to take another Amalgam mirror, you go Havana. If you want to take a Sig mirror, you go to Circuit Royale. If you want to take a dive mirror, you go to Gibraltar. So I'm not sure like why they're picking Route 66. I think they want to force a dive into Mauga like matchup, and I think they're quite confident on this map at that.
I'm a little worried now for Fielder because New Queen Street, Fielder navigated the map so well. 66, very accessible for a Genji to get on top of you. A lot of sharp corners on the map. It's going to be a really tough test for the flex support of Falcons.
That's right. We're getting ready for our last map of the series. 2-2 the score. One of the teams will be moving on to the grand final, and the other one will be dropping down to the lower bracket to fight for their lives.
Regardless of the result on Route 66, one thing is for sure. This series has delivered. Our two very best teams from the APAC region, arguably our two very best teams in the world right now, are leaving it all out there to decide who advances to the grand final with that advantage from the upper bracket.
Yeah, Route 66 offers a lot of options. in terms of what you decide to play, right? You can play Maga-based compositions. You can play dive, right? A lot of verticality throughout the map. Opportunity for like hit scan, right? Really long sight lines. Pretty decent for Genji. So I think for Crazy Raccoon, it gives you a lot of different options, right? If this isn't working, do this. A few different flux positions to be in there. This is interesting for Falcons, right? So coming out on this composition that we talked, endlessly about, I feel like, throughout this weekend. Do you play? You probably don't play this. Yeah, you're gonna have to. You're not gonna play Venture Genji from Big Earls and kind of stand there. That would probably be some like plat level stuff. You're gonna see them push up right to the cart and make this as close quarter of a game as possible. Then potentially you see them, either switch, or you're gonna see consistent fights on the payload.
We are moments away from jumping into the last map of the most exciting match of this OWCS major. Crazy Raccoon get brought all the way here to Route 66. And Judgment thought about the ball for a moment. Here's a Malga Mirror with the Cassidy point of difference and Shu on the Kiriko.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit longer sight lines here on Route 66 to play some Cassidy. So see if they can make this work for them. But like, look at this. I mean, Fielder can play at a distance here on the back. It's not a terrible spot to be in as well.
Fielder up top here has to pop the regen burst.
Yeah.
But it takes a while. There's a flat healing component and then healing over time, but the ladder just didn't come quickly enough. Nice little spawn camp here from Falcons. Junvin is surrounded and has to turn tail.
I mean, they give up Fielder so Proper can turn around and kill Chorong and Heesen. So finish jumping as well, so you're not going to be able to charge back on as Stalker gets quite low as it is turned into TDM here on the cart. But that's to be expected here with how close Falcons was playing.
You see this so often with the spawn camps that both these teams are trying to put together. Gets a little messy sometimes. Both of these squads very good at finding opportunities to turn the tides in their favor. Either way, Falcons have had to back up here to the top of Big Earls with two players coming back in. Chio getting Stalker ready to throw down once more.
Falcons will engage you just a little bit.
Look at this beat gap.
Yeah, they're building up these support ults. Well, you did lose Chorong right away, and Chio was the only support alive there for Falcons for a while.
Lipno finds Proper first. That might make up the lack of sound barrier. The Falcons don't want to make use of here. Crazy Raccoon. Blow them to smithereens.
The one thing interesting about sticking with the Baptiste as well here for Falcons is, I know Kasoris mentioned, like the rush is so strong in terms of an ultimate. You see it pay off there. Like there's not really like tons of value you're getting out of the Ant Matrix, right? In terms of, damage with what? Venture Genji, Maga. Not exactly a spot you want those heroes in. Jedi here, just trying to walk the payload on him.
Lip holding it. Knew there was a deflect coming. Here comes the blade from Heesen in from above. Pressure again mounts on Fielder, but Chio is there with the sound barrier. And Stalker pops up. Heesen pops out. Crazy Raccoon now bundled back in the direction of their spawn to await Heesen to rejoin them.
Chorong holds on to that blade because they know that this is a combination that Falcons is trying to put together. Cage fight blade combination. They've been so good at it. A lot of time off the clock.
Time is very short. That's 2.5 minutes already. Off the back of a nice spawn camp from Falcons. Now they have big ultimates to leverage, but not a beat. That's Chorong's job here. They're out of sync, these Lucio ultimates for now. So further forward, the payload inches. Lip still playing from a very comfortable spot back there. Shu flanking him.
You're okay here if you're Falcons letting this clock even dwindle down some more.
Cage fight used. Whoa! Stalker makes the earth shake. Up we go, pops up now, looking to try and chase Lip down. Drill rush. That is a kill completed. This is dangerous territory for your #1 seed from APAC.
And I think Crazy Raccoon, you need to take this fight a little bit earlier, I would say, because you're going to allow Falcons to build up these support ultimates, and you just kind of sit around that corner and hope.
Chorong at least not using beat in that lost fight. No chance to really, blown up by the Venture ult. Here they come once more, Crazy Raccoon. If it's going to be any time, it has to be now. He's going to be a blade though from Proper. Oh, he's scuttled their plans already. Lip is down. Trapped inside the cage match is Proper, but he's in a safe spot. Smurf is removed, now the 4 versus 4. Chio under a little bit of pressure and Junvin charging towards Big Earls and T-Sank. Able to pick up that Mega. from above. Comes Stalker, drops back down. Heesang takes note of it and has to back away from the eruption. Stalker back to safety with Propper's low. Heesang waits patiently, can't complete the kill, but Crazy Raccoon have that first checkpoint. 2:30 on the clock.
And that boom comes through there and knocks Stalker off course. As Stalker was trying to get a touch, he would have had the supports back in the mix. This Chio's so close to the beat, so massive play there from Chorong. Knocking Stalker out of the way, at least getting Crazy Raccoon that first checkpoint.
Now on to push up this second phase of the map, of course, again. Still fine for Malga to play from. Crazy Raccoon want Falcons to come to them. Give them an advantageous positioning. Allow them to be reactive. Blade for Heesang, no. More like a proactive approach for the attackers. Again, pressure on Fielder. He can't hang. It's tough for the map out there. It's brutal. Smurf able to do some good work from the low ground, though, as the defenders can surge back into a dominant position.
That time Smurf gets some value out of the M-Matrix. Fielder kind of drops it to just maybe deter them from pushing on in, right? Sound barrier used there as well for Falcons.
90 seconds again, Matt.
Yeah, I bet you do have this Kitsune Rush. The Kitsune Rush has been so good for Crazy Raccoon to be able to get some of these fights, especially with Lip playing inside of it.
It's been very impactful. Shu knows, though, he needs to turn it into a fight win. Here it is, the rush going to be thrown out, but Smurf already heads into the back line. A Crazy Raccoon Stalker, airborne, throws some of those harpoons downward as Cross was picked up by Lip. The attackers here with a surge of momentum, but Team Falcons are holding their ground and they've got ultimates to play with. Heesang is removed, Fielder the hit scan pressure, takes care of the Genji. Now it's even. Shu with the kunai will force Chio to turn tail once more, and a stagger now on Fielder.
He just gets on, gets himself eliminated there as Falcons still have another opportunity here. But Halo will get very close to that second checkpoint. Crazy Raccoon, they hold on to that sound barrier cage fight here for Crazy Raccoon. You also have this Deadeye. You can just try and walk it in here with Lip's ultimate.
Here we go, Venture straight into the cage. Deadeye from afar. Lip is protected by the cage matches. I love that from Smurf. Throw it up to break up the Deadeye if you possibly can. Fielder's gone yet again. Crazy Raccoon down 2 players. Cage has now been removed. It needs the blade from Proper. The defenders are coming alive. But what a time to do it. Crazy Raccoon on their last legs. No ultimates to work with. Heesang maybe can build something, but that's it.
And that was the beat from Chorong, so it's going to be Lip switching over to the Tracer just to try and get back, get a touch. Junbin here as well. You can keep this alive a little bit longer. Maybe Heesang gets the blade, but sound barrier for Chio and Falcon.
Yeah, that's going to be the backbreaker, surely. Into the saloon they go. Chio knows he needs a good beat here. He's going to get involved in the fight. Dash from Heesang straight into the lineup, and Falcons now have the players to work with. It is over. Chorong the first to fall, but Crazy Raccoon are like dominoes. And Falcons take flight directly into our grand finals. How do you come back from that? That's not enough push.
Yeah, I mean, that it's going to be tough potentially here for Crazy Raccoon to get a hold here on defense. So the one positive for CR is that we talked a little bit about New Kui Street, right? Where the Venture, they can't exactly access the high ground as easy as Genji, right? So they're getting on top of Big Earls, especially if Lip is going to end up playing that Cassidy, right? How do you access that? With that ease, it'll be a little bit harder, as I know you wonder, right? CR probably plays a close-up hold, but then gets more fights around that gas station.
Yeah, you've got to buy some time with the big spawn camp here. That's going to be crucial. Falcon's not getting to that last phase of the map, though. Or rather, Crazy Raccoon, should I say. It's going to hurt them. But again, Route 66 is that kind of game. We've seen holds on first. Especially if you can put a real strong showing straight outside that spawn door. How many times were Crazy Raccoon down to 30 seconds before getting that checkpoint?
And with some of that high ground now, and access to it here on the defensive side of things and playing around Lip even more, you're actually seeing them play the Baptiste. So Shu has been playing the Kuriko for a lot. We've been talking about how he's liked that look. You know, Kitsune Rush, obviously great. The M-Matrix actually makes a little bit more sense for Crazy Raccoon because of the Cassidy. But that immortality feels, right? If they're going to go to the high ground and try and make a play for that Cassidy, make it very difficult and costly in terms of overall HP pool to take out that character.
No change to Crazy Raccoon. Shu and the Baptiste, though, I guess. Point of difference. And M-Matrix can be feast or famine at times.
And they don't play close. So Crazy Raccoon, they don't play close. They play this Cassidy up on that high ground. And now let's see how they attack it with that venture-based composition. It feels like you're going to have to like rotate all the way around, potentially, you know, try and get an angle on the backside of Big Earls. As you see, you're going to be walking straight up there and just going right into what Maga, Cassidy, Baptiste. Not exactly the three you want to see.
Oh, straight upstairs goes Smurf. Forced back instantly. Linsby getting a ton of damage in amongst this fight. Already a Deadeye build. On virtue probably of safe positioning to throw that poke down. Oh, that's value! Gio knew he had nowhere to go. Was hoping to try and maybe move Lit further back up on top. A good stop here for Crazy Raccoon, and without having to take the risk of a close spawn camp, this is big.
As Proper will end up jumping off the side there. So Falcons does get a good amount of payload progress here, right? They get it around the corner. They almost, you know, remember what teams used to call like almost like hide under Big Earls, not take damage, and then push up through it. So look at this though. Jumpin is pushed up and trying to make it a little bit scary. Now moves all the way back. Is to the fight. There's so much damage that takes place. You know, as both teams jockeying for position. Mortals galore.
Somehow Smurfs gets back under the immortality field. Able to buy enough time. Fielder though again picked off. Always that target. Shoe a problem from across the map. Switching to that Baptiste. Sound barrier for Crazy Raccoon. Even with 4 players, they want to try and hold their ground. And it's a later beat at that. Proper trying to get through it. Eventually it's jumped into fall. Heesang has a blade, but jeez, he can't make use of it here. It's just stagger, it's just stall. Crazy Raccoon will be happy with what they can get here.
You know, with Choron the last one to die here, I wonder if you're going to be able to get him back up to get the speed, to get everybody back in play. So Heesang in position. You have jump in here as well. Looks like we're going to get a contest.
Straight out we go. Yeah, Jimmy wastes no time. Tears having to get outside the cage match, but Heesang now looks to make use of our club together, everyone. It's for the kunai! That is unbelievable! Crazy Raccoon had something there. You think Heesang could have shut it down? That is beautiful stuff from Fielder.
You know, they've been saying, hey, Fielder maybe has to switch over to the Kuriko then to pulse it out at the right time there, as Shu does as well. So Baptiste gone from both sides of things. Now the game right in front of Falcons, right? The grand finals right there.
3 minutes 30, so much for Falcons to work with, and so much of this came off their staunch defense in this phase of the map. But they still need to land the plane. Gio.
I was about to say, look at the beat difference, right?
Again, they're out of phase.
Yeah.
Once more. We're going to push into this Crazy Raccoon. They want to take this fight. Bit of stagger here is going to be massive for their defensive effort, but Heesang, ooh dear. Little overheat.
And here comes Chio off a spawn, right? So now you think you have an advantage. Now it's completely flipped, especially you're probably going to get around this next corner. Put yourself in a really difficult position. Heesang's going to go over to the far here.
Proper dives in. Okay, mag grenade hitting, deflect timing a little bit too early to stop the Deadeye now. It's scary, but they bring Lip down. It's so close. Victory! It's within striking distance for Crazy Raccoon. Helmet. With all of them down. Team Falcons here. It's going to be impossible to stop them. You might be able to rush out, you might be able to keep it going. But 2:30 on the clock still for Team Falcons to work with. Even if they don't get it here, you have to feel like it's inexorable. They back up a little bit. Crazy Raccoon are allowed to come in and defend.
Yeah, Fielder's on the way back, so Fielder was considering coming back. But maybe on the back, switch back to the Kuriko is taking a little bit of an off angle here. You probably have a good idea for Falcons that there's a sound barrier on the other side. It'll be the Venture Ultimate to kick things off.
Okay, defensive sound barrier available though. Crazy Raccoon have to leave it all out there. 2 minutes left for Falcons, plenty of time still. Here's that beat, Proper over the blade, it's gonna come a little bit later, and here we go swinging. Mag grenade makes it hard for him to charge on him, but eventually he shrugs it off. It's Lip dealing with Smurf first though. Attacking Naga removed, but it doesn't seem to matter. Shu and Lip both down. Falcons with the numbers. Falcons with the wind under their wings. And these birds of prey move one notch up the food chain. It's grand finals time for your Falcons.
Just see it's a combination of just all the emotions here for Falcons as they finally get over the hump, right? You know, everybody talking about Crazy Raccoon coming in as the favorite. But as soon as we saw Falcons start to play at this event, it seemed like they had a different feel about them, right? The composition that they've been playing felt like it might just be a touch better than everybody else. And at least in this series, right, potentially we see it again later today in the grand finals. Falcons just a touch better than Crazy Raccoon.
It was so back and forth, but the time is right for this Falcons roster. They are peaking at the correct point here at your OWCS Dallas Major. And we've talked about it. Coming into the grand final as their top seed, not to mention the fact that you don't have to play that extra game. By getting your choice of map to kick things off, it's a big advantage. Starting on the front foot there will be massive. And there's a good chance it could be a rematch. Crazy Raccoon, I'm sure, fire in their bellies after suffering to the number 2 seed from their same region.
Yeah, but obviously, Falcons, they make a tremendous run here now to our final with a loser final, right? With SSG in the mix. The desk was like, who do you think they'd rather see? It was Crazy Raccoon that they would have said, hey, we would have loved to see them. Probably don't want to see either. But if you had to pick one.
Look, they might look fallible, but not that much. What a competitive series for this Crazy Raccoon team. Think back to Oasis.
Yeah.
These guys have a lot up their sleeve here, but when they had to match the Malgamera, there's slight variations in composition. Fielder onto the Kiriko had an incredible moment. That kunai to shut down the Dragon Blade. What an individual.
It's so interesting that we
brilliant.
didn't see Escort earlier on, and then once we get here to the end, it's like Route 66. It's like the one map I feel like we didn't talk about potentially being an option, right? We discussed the Havana, we discussed Gibraltar, right? A circuit. Very interesting, the route pick here at the end.
Absolutely. We've got to hear from the winners. They've got to be feeling incredible getting straight into that grand final. Let's head down to the stage with Danny and Proper.
Mr. Matt, thank you very much. I am here with the Porsche performance of the match. It is none other than Proper from Team Falcons. Amazing job. Big congratulations on getting the win. This was looking kind of grim for Team Falcons starting off. You guys were losing 1-2, and then you guys were able to turn the series around. How were you guys able to do that? How were you guys able to get the win against Crazy Raccoons today? 자, 일단 오늘 승리 축하드리면서 초반에 굉장히 좀 힘들어하는 모습을 보여주다가 끝에 가서 다시 또 살아나는 굉장한 경기력을 보여준 또 프로퍼 선수와 또 팀 팔콘즈가 아니었나 생각을 합니다. 프로퍼 선수 이번 승리 좀 어떻게 해서 이루시게 되셨나요?
일단 크레이지 라콘이 좀 강팀이기도 하고 이제 라쿤 상대로 어떻게 해야 게임 이길지 대해서 팀적으로 되게 고민 많이 하면서 좀 힘들었는데 이제 좀 해결 방안을 좀 찾은 것 같아가지고 이겼던 것 같아요.
Definitely, because Crazy Raccoons are a great team, and we had to really wrap our head around like what to do against the Crazy Raccoons, and I think we found the solution to our problem, and I think that's how we got the win. Do you think you could explain a little bit about that solution? 혹시 그 방금 말씀하신 그 해결 방법을 좀 살짝 설명 가능할까요? No? I tried. All right. Well, we'll save that for the grand finals. Maybe after the grand finals, if they win, they can do it. One final question. You guys are now you guys are very close to actually winning it on. Grand Finals proper. How are you feeling going into Grand Finals? 자, 이제 그랜드 파이널 하나만 남겨두고 있습니다. 프로퍼 선수 지금 심정 짧게 듣고 넘기도록 하겠습니다.
그랜드 파이널 들어가는 심정은 그냥 아직 끝난 건 아니니까 끝까지 포기하지 않고 집중 끝까지 해서 파이팅 하겠습니다.
We're not done yet. We're gonna focus and we're gonna try our best to win it all. All right, Proper. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Proper. To the desk. Zoe, back to you.
Thank you so much, Danny. Having a quick chat there with Proper. He's not going to give away secrets just yet or ever. Can't blame him for that. Gentlemen, let's break down the action first. However, let's talk about Proper's hand in it as we're looking at the Porsche performance of the match. Highlights and some stats to go with it. Proper, for the first time this tournament, on that Genji, definitely being contested. Heesang on the other side tried his hardest to shut him down or make him work even harder for his team.
Yeah, Proper, he was really lighting it up on Tracer on this first map, but I think as the series progressed, it felt like Heesang was taking the edge, and it just showed really Proper's calmness under pressure. You see him on the cam, even when he's playing well, he's just ice cold, bringing out the Genji and having the confidence to come back to the Genji after a really challenging Suravasa. What an impressive performance.
Yeah, I thought on the Midtown, you saw the Tracer come out, it felt like it had lower impact, but once he swapped over to that Genji, what a performance. I think in that final Route 66 map, there were so many fights where Falcons was down one man, and they turned it around somehow with that shout, with that Genji dash, and I feel like the blades are just so consistent.
Yeah, and if you really now put it into perspective here, right? You're thinking about the legacies and the careers of these guys. I mean, this is a Falcons team that has championship experience. You have Smurf, of course, a two-time Overwatch League champion with the San Francisco Shock. You have Chio and Fielder, who, with the Dallas Fuel, it has to be said, won the 2022 Overwatch League championship as well. And as much as we talk about Proper, you know, this Hyperflex, who is so incredibly good, you know, an MVP, Rookie of the Year, he hasn't won that tournament yet. He's yet to get first place in a major tournament in the Overwatch League or even outside of it in the OWCS, right? So, you know, Proper, he's so hungry to finally claim that first place to lift that trophy, right? And a man of his caliber, he's got to be so hungry in that grand finals.
I mean, they're well on track to getting that first OWCS championship title, but this was a very close match, and it really came down to those small adaptations from both of those sides. So let's take a look at the general highlights and walk us through all the action that we just got to witness. It was a 5-map banger, and it first seemed like Crazy Raccoons that did find an answer to that double flex DPS that we're seeing, but then adaptations were made, Jake.
Yeah, you know, that first map, trying to play dive into the Maga, it did not work, but the very surprising for us, I think, pick of Suravasa, it was a big risk by Crazy Raccoon, but it paid off massively. It felt like that set the tempo for the next map as well in the series, bringing them to the precipice of taking themselves to the grand finals. But Falcons, what an impressive rally. I mean, I honestly didn't see that coming after map 2.
Yeah, and I felt like this was a really interesting way the series went, right? You could see first Crazy Raccoon was trying to dodge Amalgamir, then the Falcons were trying to dodge Amalgamir, and in the end, right, with these push maps, they end up with the Amalgamir, and I feel like both teams felt confident going into the last map, and you could really see the tempo throughout the series got turned up, and I think especially Falcons really impressed me with that Venture Genji comp and how fast they were taking fights.
Yeah, and I feel like this final adaptation here on Route 66, we talked about how Fielder getting targeted on that Baptiste, but as the series progressed, it felt like Stalker specifically and the rest of the Falcons, they kind of slowed down, they didn't go as hard aggressively, right? And they kind of felt like they could trade pretty efficiently with the Baptiste, with the Venture, against Lip, playing the Cassidy and Shu playing the Kiriko. So maybe they figured out some kind of micro tactic right there, or maybe they feel like they're more comfortable trading in the front line. We saw Stalker a lot more dig in and actually play around this Mauga rather than going for big flanks around and trying to get to Lip. Maybe they felt a bit more comfortable slowing things down and taking the frontline duel instead. So there's many things that could still shift for the grand final. This series, between these two teams, the adaptations are not done yet.
They have each other's numbers. They were both very much prepared. They were able to flex over to different compositions or variations of such compositions. Alas, Falcons did end up in the grand finals now. You already touched on it. Those players are no strangers to that position. They are now awaiting their next opponent. It could be a rematch between them and Crazy Raccoon, or wait for it, it could be Space Station Gaming, the more unlikely one of the two. However, would they be prepared for it?
I do think, Falcons is pretty happy going to the grand finals, but there's no team quite as happy as Space Station because I think this is a much more winnable matchup for them. I think Lip's flexibility is going to be really put to the test. So far, it's been the Genji that's been a consistent answer to these Sigma comps, the Rush comps from the European teams. But running the double flex, I think is critical. I'm not sure you can get it done with the hit scan into the Sigma or the Ram. I'm not sure that it can be done, but at the same time, I feel the raw player strength on Crazy Raccoon is so high. Even if you have a strategic advantage for SSG, I'm not sure that's going to be enough.
I mean, I can attest to that. We, Defiant, of course, tried to run the hit scan into the European blocking tank style. Didn't go well for us. So let's see if Crazy Raccoon can make it work or what they will bring. I do feel like this is such a mental boon. It reminds me of last year in the Overwatch League when we lost to that Boston Uprising in a map 5 final fight scenario. It's such a mental setback, and they have to go into the next series right away. I think there's any chance for SSG beating them, it's right here because Crazy Raccoons need to reset their mental really fast, and that's quite tough.
Well, if you want to dig deep into the archives, let's not forget that Atlanta Reign was once in an Overwatch League Grand Final as well after beating the Dallas Fuel. We always talk about Dallas Fuel, Shanghai Dragons in 2021. What an incredible matchup between two really good teams. Dallas Fuel, they dropped down into the lower bracket, and there Atlanta Reign is waiting for them, upsets the Dallas Fuel, and advances to the Grand Final. So we've seen it before. I do want to say though, this would be incredibly unlikely. If Space Station advances to the grand final, it would be the upset of the year.
It would be. And if Crazy Raccoons will make their run back up there, they have to play 3 back-to-back matches, and they will have a disadvantage when it comes to the map pick in that grand final there as well. So, you know, they're playing with their backs against the wall now. Let's see if they can get it done. We're getting ready for SSG versus Raccoon up next. Oh,